And there we go, we're live. It is Saturday the 12th of September 2020. Mike here, Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To. Over in the hot seat over there is Kath.
Today is Saturday the 12th.
Thanks for that. Kath is over there in the hot seat, so if you've got any comments or questions, feel free to ping Kath in the chat just in case I miss it. Hopefully you're all feeling good, doing well, enjoying yourselves. I do apologise in advance, I've got a little bit of a head cold going on at the moment. Don't think it's the COVID, you never know. Who can tell these days? Anyway, so if I have to go for a quick break to either blow my nose or cough, splutter, or whatever, I do apologise, but just warning you in advance in case I do disappear briefly, or I have to mute the mic, etc. Hopefully you will understand. The show must go on, obviously. So to say some, actually before we say some quick hellos, let's talk about tonight's topic briefly as a quick intro. Obviously, unless you've been sleeping underneath a rock or whatever the phrase is, you know that there's a lot of tech stuff going on at the moment. We've had the recent Nvidia launches of the 3000 series graphics cards. We've also had some leaks from Xbox. Leaks everywhere at the moment, it's crazy. Also, we've got the upcoming announcement from AMD coming with the new 6000 range of graphics processors, GPUs, whatever you want to call them, and also the 4000 series of CPUs. Now, we've obviously had the APUs, the 4000 series, in certain notebooks and laptops, etc. And if that's anything to go by, the desktop CPUs should be pretty awesome. So super, super excited to see what those are like. We've got to wait a little while, which is part of the problem, to be completely honest. Nvidia have kind of brought their cards to the table and said, okay, this is what we got. You're cool. So AMD, just chilling. Yeah, this is what we got, but we're not going to tell you quite yet what it is. We're going to let you guys simmer a little bit and see how you like it. So AMD, hopefully, we're going to pull out a Ace card and going to completely wipe the floor with Nvidia. As unlikely as it seems, you never know. Stranger things have happened. AMD have done some proper good things in the past, pulled out some wild cards. The Athlon 64, for instance, which was kind of completely slammed Intel at the time. There's been times where AMD, or ATI rather, have had a much better graphics card than the Nvidia counterpart. But who knows? We're all speculating, but it's really exciting to see what is going to happen. And best of all, where are you going to spend your money? We have created a straw poll, so you guys can make your voices heard, or guys and girls, and in-betweens. If you want to make your voice heard, if you look into the chat at the moment, hopefully Kath or one of the other moderators will post a link to the straw poll, so you can link on there, go through the decisions and make your voice heard. Personally, actually no, I'm not going to say what I've voted for. I'll let you guys vote and see what you think, and then we'll go through it a little bit later, have a discussion, see what the opinion is. Personally, I think most of you, if I was a gambling man, which I'm not really, which is probably why I voted the way I did, but I think that most of you that are watching this channel, you might well be edging on the side of caution. So maybe you're going to play the slow game, possibly wait a little while, see how it all pans out, wait for the reviews, wait for the benchmarks, and wait for that real world testing and obviously real world pricing. That is going to be one of the key things, I think, for a lot of our channel's viewers. Perhaps not some of the other channels like Linus Tech Tips, etc., where there's a massive wide gamut of people that watch it, from the uber rich to the uber poor. So I think those kind of people are going to be somewhere in between. But yeah, I like to think that we are a relatively balanced group of people. So we're going to kind of step back from the craziness and maybe see what pans out and then make an informed decision rather than just going, give me a card, here's my money, take my money. Anyway, with that in mind, let's say hello to some of you people in the chat. So who have we got in with us tonight? Yeah, so we've got quite a lot of early viewers. Ghost Adder from the Discord crew in first. Thank you, Ghost Adder. And Ghost Adder says, screw you, Doge. Nice. He also says first, but the screw you, Doge was quite funny. James Miscellaneous was in next. If you haven't seen James Miscellaneous, he actually has a YouTube presence of his own. So feel free to just type in your search bar, James Miscellaneous. Try and spell it right, I didn't. And you can visit his channel and check him out. Angry Doge is also in the house as well. Rob Bomford. That's a bit of a tongue twister. ClickTech Kev says Kerry Holzman. That was part of tonight's other segment. So we're going to talk about the graphics cards and the tech and all that kind of stuff, but also I want to talk about what triggers you, what really triggers you in technology. What is the thing that really, really irks you and makes your piss boil? That is a phrase that I'm adopting at the moment. I like it, it works for me. What makes your piss boil? Let us know in the comments, let us know in the chat. I see Kev has already come in with Kerry Holzman. Harsh, but fair. We can go with that. So whatever your personal preferences are, your triggers, technologically and or YouTube-wise, is there something on YouTube that you see all the time that really, really gets you and you just can't take it? It makes you want to punch the screen, disconnect, rage quit, all that kind of stuff. I want to hear about it. Let us know what is going on. And on that subject, James Miscellaneous says, triggers, non-sharped PCBs. Yeah, I do sometimes get that, and once you've noticed it, you can't unnotice it. What James is referring to is on graphics cards or pretty much any expansion slot, you have the PCB and it shows through in like a weird color or clear or whatever, and you've got this really nice darkened out GPU or whatever it is, and you've got this weird line. Get a Sharpie out, get your permanent marker out, color that bad boy in. And we've gone straight into a super chat, which for some reason also seemed to trigger my camera. Excellent. Let's see, who is that from? I'm gonna have to fast forward down. Who's it?
Noob.
British Noob.
Doge smells.
He says, £2 from British Noob. He says, Doge smells. Okay. Unfortunately, this is a televisual interaction, so smelly vision isn't a thing, and actually I've got a cold at the moment, so I can't smell a damn thing, which actually, maybe I should do another Maryland cookie video. If you haven't seen that already, hopefully someone will drop it in the links for the chat. A long, long time ago, in a land far away, there was a fledgling YouTuber called Mike, and he had a channel called Mike's Unboxing, and he would unbox all kinds of crap. He didn't care, he just wanted to make videos because that was his passion. Unfortunately, Mike had a cold, very much like he does now, and decided it would be a good, fun thing to do with his son, to do a taste test of Maryland cookies, because his son loves Maryland cookies. And I couldn't taste a damn thing. It was quite entertaining. Very sad, quite entertaining. So if you want to check it out, someone will put a video link in, hopefully.
Oh, excuse me.
And if you hear any sneezing, that's Kath in the background, because she's also got a little bit of the old man flu. Right, going back to where we were. So Paul Bakewell's in the house also. Paul Bakewell also has a channel of his own, so you can feel free to type in Paul Bakewell YouTube and you can find his channel. Drop him a sub and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, same goes for James and ClickTech Kev. Paul says, hi all, this is an early start. Yeah, I did get the video thumbnail up pretty early. Trying to get that clickbait in so people flock in, which they don't because it's Saturday night and there's other things to do. ClickTech Kev says, ketchup and mustard cables. Yeah, that really upsets me even now. I know you can buy cable extensions, but just save the money on the cable extensions and just put the money into a decent PSU that hasn't got ketchup and mustard. It is a horrible thing to see in a PC these days. Ghoststeller's trigger is no PSU shroud. Yeah, I completely understand that. James Miscellaneous is a bigger trigger, no PSU. That works. Jack Seller says, those weird children's videos. Okay. We've got another super chat come in, which is come in from, let's see who that's from. That is from Ugly Bob. Ugly Bob. Oh, that's his thumbnail. He says Dave smells. And Ugly Bob doesn't look that ugly, to be honest with you. I've seen far worse. And you only have to do a couple of YouTube searches or Google searches and you can definitely find some ugly SOBs on the internet. But thank you, Bob. Thank you for your £5 donation. Son of Bob's, yes. Oh, and there's another one coming. Is that another one coming, or is that thing just ruined?
Yeah.
I think it's just ruined. And I've broken the chat now. Oh, why have I done that? How do I do this now? Right, I've broken the chat. Oh, there we go. We're back. We're back. Don't panic. What is going on, Kath? Is that another super chat?
Yeah, that's British Noob.
British Noob. Another £2 says, I support and agree with Bob's statement. Bless you, Bob. Oh dear, I got to scroll all the way back up now. Let's have a quick catch up. So also we got Tristan G, Bob. We've already mentioned Skystalker's in the house. Paul says, hello mate. Hello mate. How you doing? Angry Doge is in the house. We've said that already. Aletta is with us. All praise the Big O, everybody. Big O's in the house. Aletta, I hope you don't mind me saying that. It's just, you do big stuff with PCs, Big O, I like it. I don't know, is it wrong? I like it. Ian McPherson says leeks. Yes, don't like them. National symbol of Wales, but I suppose, yeah, they're bearable in stews and stuff. Oh, leaks, I get you. Yes, there has been many leaks this week. Although they've not really been good leaks. They've been kind of mere leaks where they don't really give away a lot. We've got another super chat come in from our good friend Sky Stalker, and has donated 10 Canadian rubles. Thank you very much, good sir. I'm not sure if he's put a comment. I'm going to have to scroll down to see.
Sky needs a shower. Keep it to yourself.
Sky needs a shower. Keep it to yourself. Smiley face. Well, again, this is the world of
Tech.
the internet. And tech. Tech guys are sweaty, smelly blobs, aren't they? Mostly. You get some cool, good-looking ones that are on YouTube, etc. Not me, obviously, but you do get some which are relatively suave-looking. But realistically, we're just sweaty blobs sat at a computer, sweating away over a keyboard. Ivory Wolfman says fanboys. Yes, we don't like fanboys. Although fanboys are quite entertaining because they're actually quite nice to troll. And actually, being completely honest, and just between me and you, don't let this go any further, but this week I have actually been doing some trolling of my own, and it has been a very enjoyable experience. But we'll talk about it a little bit later.
Karma, you've got a cold.
Yeah, I have got a cold from it, so yeah, troll karma. Who else is in the house? M Silver says, good evening all. Good evening, M Silver. Jax Teller's also about. And Jax Teller says, not knowing what I'm doing when handling parts worth £300. Yes, I know that very well. Been there. That's another super chat. Where's that come from, Kev? Kev, like, it's not come up on the screen.
Click tech.
Oh, I hate the internet. It's working. It's not popped up on the thing. What did he say, Kev? Tell me what he said.
He says, Kerry smells.
He says Kerry smells. Very political and possibly accurate. Who knows?
Sorry.
Ladios. Frame drops in games for no reason is the main thing that triggers me after building a completely new PC. Frame drops are a very common thing, and unless you kind of tweak or tailor your system, you will experience them because there's always some sort of bottleneck in a PC. Whether it's your graphics card's way too fast for your CPU's too fast for your GPU, your RAM's too slow for the system, your hard drive's sluggish, your internet's bogging out, your monitor can't keep up the refresh rates. There's so many variables that can go wrong. It's just, yeah. If you get a ramp and roll 3 different size marbles down, if you got your marbles, if you roll, let's say, a various amount of spherical objects down said ramp, if they're all slightly different, you can guarantee that one is going to get to the bottom before the other. And that is essentially what your computer's doing. You've got all these things all trying to do stuff at the same time, and they've all got different capacities and performance levels. So some things can race ahead, some things are sluggish, catching up at the rear, and there's some things which are just waiting there going, come on, what am I doing next? So that is why you get these bottlenecks and frame drops.
David Aikens, if you missed it.
David Aikens has also super chatted, I think, Kath just tells me. Why is it not popping up on this damn YouTube live studio thing? Thank you, Mr. Aiken, for your £5 donation.
This should buy you a few lemsips, Matt.
Yeah, lemsips. I could do with some I got tea.
I'll fight off the
tea
fluid
flower.
and wipes for the sweat. Get better soon, both. Cheers for beers.
Yeah.
Screaming troopers.
Bless you all. Okay. The super chats are coming thick and fast tonight. Thank you all so much, guys. It's very touching, Thank you very much. And to be honest with you, it's brilliant because tonight I didn't really have a clue what to do for the stream. All along I've been thinking I should just let you guys just take over and just you throw some questions out there and we'll just run with it. But obviously because the graphics card thing, it is important to a lot of people and it's a lot of money. Even if you're slightly much of a baller and you're like just flashing the cash everywhere, even still, these graphics cards that are coming out, even the lowest one, which is going to be the RTX 3070, still $500 or £470 here in the UK. That's a lot of money. A lot of people don't spend that on an entire system. So yes, even though we're kind of looking at the 37 as being like the kind of the poor man's card, it ain't. It isn't. No, it's just not. A poor man's card is like £100 or maybe $100, that kind of price. To me, that's a poor man's card. That's your entry level into gaming. $500 is a ton of cash to throw on a graphics card. It really is. Although, saying that, if you're building a £1,000 PC overall as a Christmas present, and we are kind of rolling quickly to kind of Thanksgiving and Christmas, so probably a lot of you are thinking of, am I going to build a PC? Is it? We spend £1,000 on a PC pretty easily. We did a stream the other night, I think. Did we? Or did I do a video? I don't know. What's going on? Who am I? Oh yeah, I remember. No, I made a video. That was what I did. I made a video and we recorded it, and it was a PC part picker list. And actually, we'll get this out there quickly. If you want me to do a dedicated video for you based on a particular amount of money you want to spend and you want to be a bit thrifty and you want some advice on what to buy, send me a link or an email. No, don't send me a link because that's what I'll be sending you. Yeah, ignore me. I'm talking absolute nonsense.
What you want a PC for, what price.
Just send me some information. Email address is there, mike@mikesunboxing.com, or just come over to our Discord. You can join up for free. It doesn't cost you anything, apart from a few minutes to actually agree to the terms and conditions of the site. But yeah, join us on Discord or come to mikesunboxing.com thing, email. Wow, words is hard today. Let's take a break from that, from me thinking about what I'm saying. We've got another super chat in. Oh, and it still doesn't tell me who it's from.
Jack Teller.
Right, let's open this into a new pop-out chat, so that might actually work. You never know. Come on, Google, you can do it. Right, let's move that over to there. That's kind of working, I think. Right, I can see stuff now. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. Jack Taylor says, can I have a kiss, Mike? There you go, there's your kiss.
No, you can...
Oh, Kath said no, sorry. Can I take, I'll
no.
have to take that one back.
Oh, sorry, I've got stuff.
A kiss for £2? What do you think this is? High school? Oh, I just noticed this chair's squeaky and Kath's still got my good chair.
Oh, I haven't had it all day. The cat's had it all day.
GT Racing want to send me a desk now. I'll have to see if I can get them to send me another chair as well so I can actually sit at the bloody thing. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so Alexa says $100 is a couple of packs of PET tubing and a small handful of fittings. Yes, that's true. ClickTech Kev says, have you been on the night nurse? No, she hasn't visited yet, but Kath is there, so we'll be a second. Yeah, I'll make do. Where are we? Skystalker says, at Jack Tiller, Mike is not a whore. Oh well, whatever. Of course I'm a whore. I'm on YouTube. Goes with the territory. Jack Steller says, my dreams are crushed, Kath. Ruth Wick, Michael, are you high right now? No, don't think so.
Pretty low in that chair, to be honest.
No, I'm not actually.
Lower in my chair.
James Mazzini says, Mike kicking more facts than a Xerox machine. I don't know if that's a good thing. I generally don't. Jack Steller says, what high school did you go to? £2 is all I got. Oh, Ruth Wick says, show cat. Cat or Kath?
Cats are out, all of them, I think.
I think the cats have all gone out for a dump because they've just been fed. David Aitken says, you'll be able to afford a 3080 by the end of the stream. I doubt it. And to be honest with you, I don't think I would, if I'm completely honest with you. It is really expensive for what it is. It is, isn't it? I don't think you could you can deny that, really. Let's have a quick look if I can actually make this computer do anything that it's meant to.
Let me see if there's a cat.
I think it might actually be my fault. Let's have a look and see. Right, if you haven't done it already, quickly post your votes into the straw poll. We'll have a quick look now, and then we'll have another quick look towards the end of the stream to see if people's opinions have changed. And if you want the link, again, it's in the video description, so you can check it out there. If not, just go to strawpoll.me, so that's strawpoll.me/209-299-79. So that's 209-299-79/R. That's the results. You can post your vote.
Got one cat.
There's a cat. Get away from my tea. Oh, Daisy.
She doesn't want to stay.
She's a bit camera shy like Kath. Okay, so we've had 34 votes so far, so come on, put your fingers out your buttholes, get a type in, open a tab on your browser, go to the straw pool. So these are the options. Best value, regardless of brand. Watch YouTube videos, but stick with my current card. High-end Nvidia. High-end Radeon. Not bothered until after Christmas or Xmas or Thanksgiving or whatever your festive thing is, Hanukkah or whatever. Or the last option is wait for the mid-range cards to release. And I can see some of you are voting already because it's going up and it's moving in real time. You can actually leave this open in a tab and you can see it updating in real time. Currently, the highest, well actually we're tied at the moment on the top vote. So as pretty much I was expecting, currently, as it stands, we are tied at the top for wait for the mid-range cards to release, which, to be honest with you, is the best idea. That generally is. And the second one is best value regardless of brand. So if you put those two together to go with the best value regardless of brand, and also wait for the mid-range versions of those cards to release, that gets roughly 50% of the votes or more. So yeah, that is pretty much, I think, that is where the sensible money is. There's going to be a lot of people just want the latest and greatest because it's cool. And if you've got the money, got a few quid saved, or maybe if PC stuff is your hobby and you just really enjoy getting this stuff, then totally knock yourself out. I'm one of those people where I kind of feel a little bit guilty when I spend an insane amount of money on a piece of hardware. As much as I'd like it, it does kind of kill me inside a little bit. Unless I'm well, yeah, no, it does. It does. I don't know whether it's because the way I was brought up or because we've always kind of scrimped and saved a little bit to make the best of what we had. We don't have a particularly fabulous lifestyle. We're cool, we're comfortable, but we don't go splashing out of things. Like, we haven't redecorated our kitchen since we bought the house, which is like 15 years ago or more. So we're not those sort of people that just buy a new kitchen because the other one's got dirty handles or something. We just make do with what we got. And I think I'm the same with PC stuff. So if it works and it's pretty cool and it gets the job done, I'm totally happy with it.
You felt sick for weeks after buying a new setup.
I did buy a new sofa one year because we had a little bit of a cashback thing from work. And yeah, I bought a leather settee, complete suite, and I went a bit crazy and bought like all the footstools and all that kind of stuff. And it was about £2,000, and I literally got outside the shop and I went all like pale and felt really sick.
For days.
And it didn't go away quickly, it just stayed with me. I was like, oh, I spent so much money. I'm getting flashbacks now. Actually, loads more of you have been voting, so now it's going up to the actual clear winner now is best value regardless of brand, which is good because fanboyism doesn't get you anywhere. Yes, you may be affiliated, you may be a long-time customer, you may think that these companies love you and they look after you and they've got your best interests at heart. They ain't. It isn't a thing. You're dreaming, you're living in a bubble. Essentially, they're there to make money. They are a business. They all are kind of beholden to shareholders, accountants, all that kind of stuff. The days of an engineer actually getting an amazing product, putting it out to market at a reasonable price and it's selling and it being really popular, those days are gone. Dyson, gone. Great idea to start with. Really good prices. Became a massive company. Now it is in the kind of mercy of the accountants, etc., etc. Same is with ATI stroke AMD stroke Radeon. ATI were a great company when they started out and literally they just want to engineer the shit out of things. Same as AMD. AMD were, when they first began over in Texas, they were just like, yeah, we're going to do this, it's going to be great, it's going to be undercutting the other guys, we're going to do a fantastic job on it, and they just went gung-ho into it. But now, like all the others, yep, they've got shareholders, they've got accountants, so they've got to make money. That's what it comes down to. So being a fanboy to a particular brand isn't going to get you anywhere. If you like the look of it, and aesthetically, the brand that you've chosen because it matches in with some colours, like maybe if you're into green and you like Nvidia, cool, stick with it. And you probably wouldn't buy an AMD card because it just doesn't fit into your whole schema. That's totally fine. But to buy something blindly just because you think that company is looking out for you and you're trying to support them, no, don't do it. So ultimately, yeah, buy the best value regardless of brand. I'm actually very proud of you lot for saying that. Although some of you have still said high-end Nvidia. That has come out on top over the high-end Radeon, which is to be expected because Nvidia cards have got roughly about 80% of the market at the moment because of their performance, etc, etc. It's not because of pricing, because they're still ridiculously high priced, but Radeon hasn't had anything to really hold a candle to it. Some people have said not bother until after Christmas. Not many, but again in the same boat as the high-end Radeon. And there's 15% of you that have said you're going to watch the YouTube videos and probably still stick with your current card, which again makes total sense. That is why YouTube exists, just so we can watch these things, watch the YouTubers bring out this latest and greatest stuff, and we can appreciate what it is. We may not be able to afford it, and we may not actually ever buy it, but it's really cool to see that stuff in action, see what it can do, and maybe in the back of your mind, if you win the lottery or you get a few quid your way, it's really cool to know what is out there to really make that purchase. Anyway, that's enough of that. We'll have another look at that later and see if it changes much. But yeah, I think that is... oh, that's the wrong screen. Am I still on that? I am, aren't I? I probably shouldn't have done that. Was I on the screen? I didn't even see it. Oh dear, did I have all my details up on then? Ah, what the hell. Who cares? Moving on. Why have I got two versions of OBS running? I don't know what's going on anymore. Oh, I get it. It's that chat. I am losing the plot. I haven't even had any paracetamols or anything for my head cold.
Maybe you should.
Maybe I should, yeah. Skystalker says, honestly, I like the Nvidia hardware and drivers, so that's where I'm going to spend my money. You tell them. Actually, to be fair, Nvidia hardware is very robust. If you're selling a second-hand system, probably not so much at this exact time, but prior to this announcement, if you sold a PC, you could list it with an Nvidia graphics card, you would generally get that PC sell quicker than it would if you had an AMD card. Unless it was in the mining craze, in which case people were buying those things like they were on fire. But Nvidia stuff is easier to sell. It definitely is. We've seen that quite a few guys on Discord who do this kind of buying and selling as almost like a hobby or a kind of second income. Totally, they all say the same thing. Sell a PC with an Nvidia card, generally no problems at all, it just works. AMD stuff, you get the whole kind of code 43 stuff, graphics errors. Not that you don't get it with Nvidia, you do, you definitely do. But it does seem to be more prevalent with Radeon cards. We do find that a lot on Discord. In fact, probably a lot of you that have come to the channel have probably found this channel due to having issues with your graphics card, because those videos have been super popular. But yes, Nvidia hardware and drivers do tend at the moment to be better, arguably. And actually the Nvidia Studio stuff which has come out for if you're into streaming and all that kind of stuff, yeah, that is super cool. Making your background blur out like you can with some of the Logitech higher end cameras that do it. The software and the RTX voice, all that kind of stuff is super, super cool. We do like that a lot. And actually, that's one thing I'm very much looking forward to when the drivers come out. I'm hoping it supports RTX cards, the prior version. So I've got my RTX 2060 KO, which I have actually kept. I've gone past the Amazon return window, and I did think, do I send it back? I was very, very on the fence. And for those of you that know me from Discord, you'll know that, yeah, it's been a discussion which I've been mulling over quite a lot. And I got to the day, the kind of cut-off point, and I was thinking, do I send it back? Do I send it back? And I thought, no, I got it for £270. It is a very good card. It plays Flight Simulator 2020 actually very, very well, considering it's not a particularly high-end card. Playing it 1440p with pretty high settings, and it works absolutely fine. What more can you ask of a card for around about £270 at the moment? There isn't really much else you can get. Yes, there will be better stuff coming out in probably January/February when we're looking at those new 3060s or 6600s possibly from Radeon, AMD. That's weird, 6600, because that was the Nvidia 6600 GT, which was possibly one of the best cards of the generation and probably subsequent generations. I wonder if the RX 6600 will be as good as the 6600 GT. That would be an interesting one. See if history will repeat itself. It generally tends to. Paul says, of course they don't care, it's business. All they care about is the cold, hard cash. It's true. It's true. Carl the Jackal says, after the 5700 XT issues I had, I just don't trust AMD to get the drivers right. A lot of us are feeling the same way. Although I do feel that the drivers now seem to be massively, massively bloated. For those of you that are old enough to remember just installing drivers from int files, where you had maybe 3 or 4 files plus a README, those days are long gone, unfortunately, and I do actually miss that. It was a golden time, I think, for PCs. Just so simple. Maybe having a floppy disk with your file drivers on. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Whereas now, AMD drivers are what? 200, 300 megabytes? Gigabytes? Megabytes. Yeah, definitely megabytes. They're massive files for what they are, realistically. That, back in the day, would be, well, a game. It is quite incredible. Captain White says AMD needs to keep on top of their drivers. Yeah. Aletta says the 3080. This is referring to the Founders Edition, for those of you who probably haven't seen it or possibly haven't seen it. Looks like it's going to be hard to take apart. There's no visible screws. Yeah, the Founders Edition, if you get to see any videos of it or reviews, the Founders Edition is very different in a lot of ways. The cooling setup is very different, but also there's no visible screws. So if you look at the back of the card, whereas normally you'd have screw holes for taking out fans, cleaning, all that kind of stuff, removing heat shields, heat sinks, all of that is completely hidden. It's like it was designed by Apple, it really is. And all you can see actually in the X that kind of goes around the outside, well, it's like a figure 8, almost elongated 8. There's various points around there where there's actually little removable flaps, and the screws are underneath there for taking it apart, but it doesn't look to be particularly friendly for user servicing. Although saying that, I guess most people who are buying the Founders Edition are buying it because it is a Founders Edition and the way it looks, rather than trying to slap a water block on it, which apparently will be possible, but I think it would be quite a shame to take it apart, because it does actually look quite nice, despite the fact it's technically beige. Yes, you heard it here. If you haven't seen it already, in a lot of the footage, it looks like it's black and silver. The edging on the side is like kind of a pewter colour, or a very, very pale bronze, or beige. Actually, I did have a case which was the Pure Base 500, which was in a very similar kind of thing, where in a lot of angles it looked silver, but it had a hint of weirdy kind of beige and almost like a hint of green in it as well. And for some reason I just could not get on with that case. It had to go. I'm not a big fan of that. I prefer, if you're going to have something, a colour on a graphics card or anything which is very prominent, it has to be something kind of normal, unless you're going for a specific theme. If you're going for a pewter theme or like some kind of steampunk look where you've got brass and all that kind of stuff, yeah, absolutely fine. But otherwise, it's just a bit weird. But talking of weird, here is Flame the cat.
Oh,
Go on, Flame, say hello.
say hello, baby.
Oh.
You're scaring him.
He's not allowed on the table normally, so that's why he's looking at me thinking, ooh, am I going to be in trouble?
One more to go.
Ugly Bob says, Mike's unboxing, reviews and how-to. That's me. Do you think the whole Black Friday and Cyber Monday will be make or break time for Nvidia and AMD? No. I don't think either one of the companies are in a position where a failed launch would destroy them. AMD, luckily, have got the super, super strong Ryzen chips well, they have been realistically for the last 2-3 years. The Ryzen branding and products have essentially kept AMD afloat. Even if BIG NAVI turns out to be a flop in the PC market, AMD make chips and processors for so many other people. They've taken in a massive amount of cash from both Microsoft and from Sony Corporation for the chips in both their current consoles and have an ongoing contract. So the PC market, especially the graphics card side of it for the enthusiast grade, is a tiny, tiny fragment of what AMD really do. They put chips inside of set-top boxes. Pretty much most of the laptops on the market now, more and more of them are becoming AMD. My Acer Aspire is an AMD product. So they've got lots and lots of irons in the fire. They're unlikely to be rocked in any massive way. Obviously, share price will dip if it turns out Big Navi is a complete failure and gets trounced. Yes, it will hit market share, or market share value rather. But I don't think it's going to be a catastrophic thing. Likewise for Nvidia, they're getting really, really heavily into other technology avenues, self-driving cars. AI is a big, big thing for them. So the graphics card, especially in the premium market, yeah, if it all goes wrong, whatever, they'll just roll on and do something else. They have got many, many other irons in the fire. Again, a lot of set-top boxes, Android boxes, various other things have Nvidia design components in them, although not specifically badged Nvidia, but Nvidia technology is in a lot of things these days. Ricardo has, I don't even know what brand of money is that, but there's 20,000 of them, so that sounds amazing. Thank you very much. Ricardo says, thanks Mike for sharing your opinions and knowledge with us all. Knowledge is a little strong. Thoughts, possibly. Knowledge, a little bit strong. It's about £4.22. Sorry for too low. No, don't be silly. That's amazing. That really is. You and Kath deserve more. Thank you, Ricardo. We do appreciate that very much. Don't we, Kath?
Yeah, thank you.
Did you hear that? She actually spoke on camera then. She wasn't thinking. She was on her phone messing around playing games.
I wasn't playing games, I'm on the chat.
She's in the chat. I'm joking. Jack Sayer says, I nearly crapped myself there. I thought somebody accidentally sent too much money. Someone send tissues for Jax, please. British Noob says he's going to get excited when he sees that total. We've had a few super chats from various different continents and countries, so sometimes you get them coming through, like, I think is it the yen or something, where it's like so many zeros it almost comes off the side of the page. So you always kind of you like just breathe. It may not be lottery stuff. Yeah, thank you, Ricardo. We appreciate that. Right, where was I? Where was I getting to?
There's quite a few I think you missed if you need to go.
Tiger Bomb says, I missed what GPU he just got. I bought the RTX 2060 KO, which actually has gone up £40 since I bought it.
Out of focus.
Yes, it does look it actually. Oh, it's because Flame was there, was it? There we go.
Sorry.
It's Kath.
That's what
She does things. She does things.
It's the cat, not the cat.
Yeah, blame the cat. Colombian pesos. Now I know. Ricardo says the most devalued coin worldwide. Oh, that's pretty sad. Let's change subject. Ugly Bob says, I like the look of the Arctic Liquid Cool 2 240. What is the Arctic Liquid Cool 2 240? Is that the freezer 240? Was there a new one that I haven't seen? I'm not too sure.
It'd be a water one, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Ugly Bob says, is the camera a little out of focus or is my cider too strong? It's probably not strong enough. Billy Kay says the Arctic is great but has clearance issues. Yeah, it is a fat boy with a P. Definitely a big boy. Angry Dose says nearly 40k subs. Yeah, that is weird. That is 40k is something of a milestone. It's not really, because normally I suppose like 50k would be a milestone, but for us every subscriber is a milestone because it's something you're not expecting, so it is really nice.
And also our target was 40 for January.
Yeah, our target for this year, up until our YouTube financial year, which is January, our target was supposed to be 40k. So to get it almost
by October,
well, hopefully before October, that gives us October, November, December, and most of January, another 4 months to. Wow, yeah, it's incredible, absolutely incredible.
Even the cats.
Yeah, the cat's very excited about it. Ruthwick Alamuro, sorry. Question: if I'm not going to overclock, should I go A320 and save my money on my build? Depends what processors you get in. A320 essentially is a last ditch effort, in my personal opinion. I have bought a few of them, and actually one of them is in a business machine which I've sold on, which has been... I'm having to think now. The first A320, the Asus one, was horrendous, and I actually had to send that back because it was so unreliable, it had to go. Although, potentially it could have been the hard drive we're using it, because we use SSD, which potentially was a little bit on the bad side anyway. So we did change the motherboard for the MSI A320 Max, and touch wood, it's been absolutely fine. So A320s are the low end of the market. The A520s are a better option if you can, but it depends what processor you're going for. British Noob says, still waiting on that Deep Cool Assassin 3 review. We have actually got a cooler from Gelid, or Gelid, however you want to pronounce it, come in. Quite excited about that one, because it does look very good and very good value for money. Kath, write that one down about the cooler.
What's it called?
What did he say? Can't see now, rub my eye. Deep Cool Assassin. British Noob says, review a Monster air cooler, hint hint. Okay. BB Lightfoot's in the house says, hey. Billy K says, no A320, at least B450. Yes, it's probably a good idea. Paolo Sordani says, hi Mike, how you doing? Ugly Bob says B450 but not the Tomahawk, lol. Yeah, don't get a Tomahawk. Don't buy the Tomahawk. The Tomahawk board is okay. Let's clear this up again. I have to do this. It's amazing how many emails and comments I get saying, Mike, why do you hate the Tomahawk? I don't hate it. I bought one myself, so I don't hate it. All I am saying is that the B450 Tomahawk, yes, when it was released and the subsequent Max version, excellent boards and are very, very good for getting the job done. My biggest issue is, well, firstly, there's no addressable RGB, which for a lot of people these days is a problem, because they get a case, it's got addressable RGB on it, they've done their build, and they get on the Discord and they're like, Mike, how do I connect my 3-pin RGB to my 4-pin header on your board? And then I'm the one, or some of our Discord experts have to be the ones that break the news gently to them saying, yeah, you're screwed, it ain't gonna work. And they've just bought or built a new system, waiting for their pride and joy to press that button to have all the rainbow puke going on, and it don't happen. And that for me is quite a saddening thing, because a lot of people expect a board that they've just bought to do addressable RGB. It seems like a normal thing to expect, but a lot of B450 boards do not support addressable RGB. And that, actual fact, pretty much the entire MSI range don't support it on the B450, apart from the AC Carbon, which does on the AC Carbon Max, maybe one or two others, but generally they don't support it. Also, obviously, it's an older board, it is going to end life support in the near future. B450, we've also had X470, we've had X570, now we've got B550. So even though those aren't, it's not a generational thing, it is product release cycles. So it's 4 product release cycles old. We've got A520s out now. Potentially we could even get a new chipset when the new 4000 series processors launch as well. So it's not going to be high on MSI's list of, quick, let's get some BIOS updates done because this board is one hot seller. It isn't anymore. You look at the Amazon sellers list, Tomahawk board is way down the list at the moment. It is way down there. So it's unlikely they're going to support a board which isn't selling by the bucket load. And being that they're not actually making them anymore, would even go further to say that it is unlikely to be supported. So
I wonder there's not that much price difference between.
Get a B450 Tomahawk if you like the board and it looks great and it does what you need it to do. Totally fine. I totally agree. It's got a very good VRM. You can overclock on it. But there's just other options. Even the Pro VDH Wi-Fi B550 that I bought, which is essentially the same price or cheaper, does pretty much bang for buck, pretty much does exactly the same thing, but it's got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and PCI Express 4 with essentially what is the same VRM setup with a slightly smaller cooler on it. So for all intents and purposes, it's the same thing. So I personally wouldn't spend the same amount of money or similar amount of money on a kind of 4th generation in terms of product cycle motherboard against something which is a lot newer. That's just me. And hopefully to some of you that makes sense. But yeah, you pay your money, you take your choices. I bought one because it was £50 on a Facebook deal, and then I sold it on straight away to someone else on Discord for £50. So I didn't make any money on it. I could have sold it on, I suppose, for more expensive, but I just wanted to have one, try it, see what it was like.
Review it.
And obviously I can't spout my mouth off about something if I haven't owned it or used it, because that was just, well, stupid, speculative, all that kind of stuff. So I felt like I had to get one just to prove my point. And I did. And then I sold it. So even though it was very cheap, I didn't see the point in keeping it. So hopefully that makes more sense. Ricardo says B550 and R5 3600, cool combination, or H7 470 and i5 10400 combo. Truthfully, I've not owned an Intel board in a long time, or an Intel processor. Judging by the prices, I think I'd probably still go AMD on that one. Yeah, I think I would. I think I'd still go AMD. Mostly because I've got more experience with that. I feel comfortable with it. I know what it's capable of. I know it's flexible. Intel stuff just really still, I don't know, it kind of sticks in my throat a little bit. It just seems to be quite expensive. I'm really trying to think about what to say without being overly negative or pessimistic, but for me, Intel, in the last God knows how many years, haven't really had anything which I would consider credible at a value proposition for me personally. The last one that I found which was good value for money was the i5 2600K? 2500K, and the 2600K in the i7. For me, those were brilliant. They were great chips, they overclocked like crazy, and they just went on and on and on. But ever since then, the 3000, 4000, etc, etc, there's been nothing which has really said to me, buy an Intel, you really need an Intel. So I haven't. It doesn't do anything for me. Jack Seller says, well, I'm off for a shower, then bed. Thanks for the laughs tonight, everyone. Really needed it. Keep safe. Bless you, Jax. Have a good shower.
No, good sleep, isn't it?
Good sleep. Don't have a good shower. Woo. Happy endings. Oh God, Akia's in, is he?
No, I think Bob's in
Excuse me.
They can't see him still.
Sky Stalker says, give me a good scenario when anyone should buy an Intel-based system. I can give you... Oh, it says time to stand. No, screw you. It does still make sense to buy an Intel system if you're a video editor. Adobe Premiere for video editing still absolutely wipes the floor Intel-wise against AMD. The quick sync built into the chip really does help scrub in tasks and all that kind of stuff on the timeline. Yeah, Intel with Adobe, it loves the frequency, it loves the speed. It just works really, really well. And there is definitely a noticeable difference in video editing performance on an Intel-based system, without a shadow of a doubt. But is it worth it? I don't think it is personally. And being that I use my system for many other things, YouTube obviously, video creation, gaming, benchmarks, research, you name it. I use it for a bit of everything. Quite often there's like a million different tabs open, different programs, switching between stuff, so I'm multitasking. AMD fits the bill for that perfectly. Matthew Day says, Intel, yet another new socket just for the sake of it? Yeah. Yeah, hopefully that answers your question. There is a justifiable reason. If you're a video editor, yeah, definitely put an Intel system together. You will not regret it. Oh, and Ruth Wick says a good comment as well, yeah, if you're a fanboy. Ghost Seller says, my i5 2300 lasted me 6 years. Yeah, that was the thing. It was, they did have a lot of longevity. The 2000 series, the Sandy Bridge ones, they were brilliant chips. British Noob says, I smell Intel talk. Yeah, true. British Noob says, Intel is the best. No, it's not. Definitely not. In fact, actually, I did buy a 6700K, a used one, and a motherboard, and I've sold it on this week. It just had to go, unfortunately. Not for any reason other than the fact that it just didn't make any sense for me. I didn't find anywhere in my kind of portfolio of PCs that it made sense. My video editing PC, I suppose potentially it could have replaced that, but it's multi-purpose, so it wouldn't have been a specific role. Can't replace my laptop with it. It's pointless having it on behind me because it just uses too much power. Yeah, just didn't work. Didn't work for me. British Noob says AMD is rubbish and slow Intel has... Oh, sorry, there should have been a comma in there. AMD is rubbish and slow, comma. Intel has higher gigahertz.
Patronising.
That is patronising.
It's full stop stroke periods that scared off.
Aletta says lots of numbers. My system has X570 Unify R7 3800X OC to 4.5 gigahertz, 32 gigabytes of RAM running at 3733 with timings of 14, 15, 30, 43, 280, 1T, a 5700 XT, and a 1 terabyte PCI Express Gen 4 boot drive. That'll get the job done. Osmo says, will the 3070 be overkill for 1080p high refresh rate gaming? Yes. I think that's a relatively easy one to guesstimate. Being at the 3070, technically, or in theory, is supposed to be faster than the 2080 Ti, which absolutely annihilates 1080p gaming, then yes. Unless you're talking RTX 1080p gaming, in which case it probably isn't overkill. But it depends what refresh rate you're talking of. If you're talking about sort of 75 Hz, 95 Hz, then it should do that very easily with RTX on. RTX off, then I would say 144 upwards is very, very possible. James Miscellaneous says, Intel is also great if you want to up your security skills with all the hardware level exploits. Harsh, but fair. Captain White says, I'm off all, gonna watch some telly. See you next time. See you later. Matthew Day says, my i7 3770 is my daily driver. British Noob says, only 4.5 gigahertz. Aletta, that's pretty slow. Oh dear. Here we go. I don't think I should read any of those things out there.
What's the EVGA card on the wall behind you?
Ruth, what is the EVGA card on? What is the wall on the card behind me? It's Nvidia, unfortunately. Someone just said it's 8800 GT. You're close. No, this is actually a 9600 GT. In the single slot variety as well, which is quite a rare card actually. This has a whopping 512 megabytes of RAM. Yeah, this is the E GeForce model, the slightly lower powered version, 9600 GT, 512 megabytes. PN. Oh, I can't see the part number, it's been removed a little bit.
No, it's your eyes.
Yeah, and rocking that Nvidia green PCB. Look at that, that is just a picture of ugliness. Although, the shroud on the top, all metal construction. This thing actually still works. I did actually get given this in the system, and I got rid of most of the bits in the system, but this bit I just could not part with. I don't know why. I probably should.
Is that card older than him?
How old is this card? This card is probably, I want to say around about 2004, maybe 2005. Maybe someone could Google it. It's a 9600 GT EVGA E GeForce. Didn't think it's got any dates on there. That is an interesting one actually. It might be later, that might be 2007. Oh, Irie Wolfman just said there, 2007. There we go. Ugly Bob says sell it to Jay's 2 cents. He's a complete EVJ fanboy. Jay, if you're watching, you can have it, mate. Just drop me a line. It's all yours.
And postage.
Yeah, but you're paying postage. Oh crap.
That looks better.
Oh no, that's better. It's on a jaunty angle now.
Jaunty.
Ah dear. Right. Okay. Russell Walton says, how much are the new Ryzen 4000s estimated to cost? Now that is actually a very, very good question. We were discussing this a little bit in the Discord a couple of days ago, and generally when AMD release a new set of processors, they quite often place them in product groups and they put the pricing roughly the same as the previous ones in order for, well, exploit sales, because obviously if you're thinking of buying a particular product, let's take for example the Ryzen 5 3600, which weirdly currently in the UK is going up and up on a daily basis. Normally you would pick up one of those for about 150, 155. So the Ryzen 4 4600 I would estimate at launch to be probably about 180, which is what the Ryzen 5 3600 is becoming here in the UK. So it's going to be slightly more expensive. Maybe the actual launch prices, and because of the whole COVID thing, it might be a little bit more expensive. But I would suggest that it's going to be within about £20 or maybe about $30 of its predecessor, making it pretty much the go-to option to go for. I personally am looking forward to doing that. I want a Ryzen 4600. That is going to be my next upgrade, I'm pretty sure of it. I haven't seen any prices, I haven't got any inside information. Hell, AMD don't know who the hell I am. But 4600 I think is going to be the sweet spot, as the 3600 was and the 2600 before it, and the Ryzen 5 1600 and the 1600 AF before that. That is generally the sweet spot. I'm hoping it's actually going to be an 8-core 16 thread part. All of the product stacks seems to be getting an increase in threads and cores, and I think there is going to be another one which is going to be a sandwich in between. So we'll probably get a 4600, and then we'll get the, we got the 3700, so yeah, 4700, which I think is going to be possibly a 10-core part. I'd possibly push it and say. I would like to think that's going to be the case, because they're saying that the top end part is going to be a 16-core 32 thread. So to come down through, really you need something in between that. So maybe a 4900 is going to be like a 16-core, 4800 maybe a 12, 47 a 10, and the 46 being an 8. That for me makes sense in my mind. But then I have got a cold, I'm not thinking straight, I'm talking rubbish, so I could be completely wrong. So if all this turns out to be completely wrong, obviously I'll just delete the stream. Ah dear. So yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. I would say all the way through the stack, unless there's a big jump in core count, I think it's going to be within about £20–30, $20–30 even, between generational leaps. That's what I'd like to see. And I'm totally looking forward to a RX 6600, because I think that is going to be the sweet spot as well. If the naming convention carries on, that's going to be pretty decent. Oh, I missed stuff here.
Probably.
Ghostseller says the oldest GPU I have here is the GT210, some random AMD card, and a Palette 550 Ti, 550 Ti, which is orange. Weird. Yeah, Palette do some odd stuff with their cards. Generally do some very, very odd colours. Where else are we? Glenn's in house and he says my 210 is my bench CPU and the EN 210 silent for the win. Ugly Bob says Mike's unboxing reviews and how to. What videos do you have planned for this coming week? Well, due to my
Human malware.
my human malware infection that I'm currently using malware bytes to try and defend. What have we got coming this week? Oh, we did get, which was very nice, our friends over at Seagate. Yes, we have got friends. After my my NAS video, they felt sorry for me, and they're like, Mike, those drives you put in your NAS are pretty bogus. And I agreed. Those drives were really kind of stopgap measures just to get it up and running, so I could try it out. So Seagate have been really kind and sent us a pair of 4TB Iron Wolf drives. These are, for those who don't know what Iron Wolf is, these are basically the go-to drive for NAS. So if you are considering building a NAS or creating a NAS, whether it's a dedicated box like a Synology, like what I've got hold of, or whether you're building your own or some kind of Plex server, whatever the case may be, for reliability, Iron Wolf drives are brilliant. The specs on them are fantastic. They got the built-in, was it IMH? I think it's called Iron Wolf. No, IHM. I must remember that for the videos. And basically, they've got their built-in kind of hardware monitoring. So you know, most drives have got smart monitoring. Well, these take that and expand on it massively. So any slight discrepancies in the drive or potential things which could result in a failure later on down the road, you get notifications through the software, pop-ups, etc. Just, yeah, super safe. And one of the things which these do, which other drives do not do in their price range, is you get 3 years worth of support for data recovery. So should anything happen to your Iron Wolf drive, I think it's Iron Wolf and Iron Wolf Pros, you get a 3-year Seagate official data recovery kind of help. So if all your stuff's on your drive and it's like, it's all gone, which is highly unlikely because they're really reliable drives, they will attempt to recover that data for you at no charge, included in the price of the drives, which I think, from what I understand and from what they've said, that is a first for this product category. So there are other drives available which may have similar technologies, but these are the only ones on the market which offer that 3-year data recovery. So yeah, that is why I am very keen to use them. I am trying to slowly wean myself away from both Google Drive, Google Photos, and also OneDrive. Now I have found, I don't know whether any of you are using either of those services and you use possibly Outlook. Now I find when I'm using Outlook, I'm typing email and it gets really slow and laggy, and that is because OneDrive is basically continually trying to sync some of my profile.
It's probably watching you.
And yeah, it's keeping an eye on what I'm doing basically, but it's not. It's basically backing up my system and keeping an eye on files, etc. Because the way that Windows 10 works, your profile is kind of backed up to OneDrive, etc., and all part of the setup. You can disable OneDrive if you want to, but then if you do that, then if you haven't made backups, you're basically screwed. And if you've got all your pictures from when your kids were young or whatever it is, anything that's important on your system, if you don't use OneDrive or Google Drive or whatever the case may be, yeah, you're effed, completely effed. If your drive goes, you've lost a lot. So having a NAS and having RAID in your NAS and also having a 3-year warranty and software recovery for that NAS is basically belt buckle braces. You are super secure. So once I've got it all set up, I'm very confident that I'll be able to eliminate OneDrive and also eliminate the Google Drive and Google Photos from my life entirely. And hopefully that will be a much better thing.
Our Wolfman used to work at Seagate.
Oh, did he? Wolfman says Skyhawk are better. Excuse me. Skyhawk are better. Yeah, more expensive. Good for what's the thing what's the word I'm looking for? Business environments, data center, that kind of stuff. But yeah, those Skyhawk drives are a little bit on the pricey side for modern human beings in their home networks.
You feel sick buying a settee.
Yeah, I feel sick buying a settee, so doing that is going to be crazy.
Don't play with the wires, mate.
British Noob says, Mike, can you hint at Seagate to get some nice 8TB hard disk drives and send them to me? Thanks, from the British Noob. I'm not sure. I doubt it. Sky Stalker says, whoa, good job, Seagate. Yeah, thanks, Seagate. We appreciate that. And it's quite good timing because the Western Digital drive that I've got, which you possibly seen the video of, which was last week, I think, where I did the shucking. I took the drive out of the Western Digital. That drive is noisy. I didn't think it was going to be. And that is, the NAS at the moment is in our living room behind the TV, because eventually it's going to be like a media server to the television. And yeah, it is quite noisy. I must get some recordings of before and after for the noise levels, because for some people the noise of spinning discs is very distracting and very annoying. And I've tried to make it so it is insulated as possible, but it's still, there's a weird resonance to it. And that's another thing about these Seagate drives. They've got the built-in technology, so I'm not sure how it actually works, but from what I can tell, there's a very, very minute adjustment they do inside on dampeners or something, so it reduces vibration, which makes the drive last longer primarily, but also prevents that noise. I'm very interested to see how that works out. It should be almost silent. Ricardo says, my first dedicated video card was the MSI Nvidia 8400 GT, 1GB. I could play Batman, Arkham Asylum and City with it. So many Crash 2 passive heat spreader. I actually had the gigabyte version of the, it wasn't the 9600 because it was, they changed it to the GTS 250 or 250 GTS, which was essentially the same graphics card as previously, but they changed all the numbers. And I had the gigabyte version, which had a Zalman cooler on it, and that was a 1GB, and I bought that specifically to play Arkham Asylum. Good times. David Aiken says, you best do a video on your old Nvidia GPU and see if you have the same luck. I'm confused there. I'm not following. Anyway, Ugly Bob says, you're going to raid them up in your NAS? Hell yes, that is definitely going to happen. Oh, I know what's happened. My screen's not updated. Ugly Bob says, I hate OneDrive, bloody Spanish backup service. Oh, brilliant. For those of you, no, I'm not even going to go there. Ruthwick, have you guys wanted to make a subreddit? I don't get Reddit. Am I too old? Am I stupid?
We don't really get Twitter.
I don't really get Twitter. Twitter confuses the shit out of me, I gotta be honest with you. I can't follow it. Instagram is like, I don't understand that really.
Why?
Yeah, just why? Instagram is basically Facebook pictures, but less easy to follow. And Reddit, yeah, I don't quite get Reddit.
I quite like Reddit on certain subjects, but
I always click on it and I see it and it says see 7 more comments. And I press on click see 7 more comments, and then it opens up something else. And I was like, okay, now I'm really lost.
I do understand.
I'm gonna have to see if there's an idiot's guide to Reddit on the interwebs.
You need C McKnight to help you.
Yeah. Aletta says, I have no need of spinning rust. Okay. They're not rusty yet, although it is quite damp here in the UK, so probably not long. Where are we? Alessa says, I do backups on an external M.2 drive. That's a really good way of doing it. As long as you remember to do it. And remember to make it properly external at some point. Or swap it out. Ideally with data, you should be having your data in 3 places. So, first place, obviously on your PC or laptop or whatever it is. Second place, on some kind of removable storage. And third place, in the cloud. Now, if you can combine the last 2 into 1 unit, excellent. Not always possible. I have actually found with the NAS, there's a USB port on the back, so you can actually leave like a 4TB USB drive plugged into it, and it will back up the NAS to a USB drive. And if you buy 2 USB drives, you can actually do a backup then actually take that USB drive and leave it at a friend's house, family, whatever, as a super spare. So God forbid, worst thing happens, house burns down. Yes, you might still be able to get a lot of stuff from the cloud if you've got cloud cover or you've got enough storage there, which a lot of people, it's an expensive thing to do. Cloud storage isn't cheap. Most systems give you like a terabyte if you're lucky. Quite often it's considerably less than that. My OneDrive I think is like 20 gigs or something, so I can't back up all my stuff. Well, I'm almost at that point where I probably could get away with about 25 gigs, I think, as a very, very, actually no, 250 gigs is my minimum I think I can get away with at the moment. So yeah, that kind of outlay is not realistic for me. So to have a USB drive I can plug into the back of the NAS, do the backup, give it to mother-in-law, give it to my mum, whatever, leave it in another location altogether, super, super safe. That's what I'm hoping to do. Japan, Skyhawk. Oh, of course, yes, Skyhawks are for surveillance applications. Yeah, Skyhawk drives are, I got myself confused there. Yeah, Skyhawk drives are for surveillance applications. They don't have particularly good I/O rates. They're good for basically capturing video, so it's all constant streams. They are designed to do that. So if you've got lots of data coming in and out, like in a traditional NAS where you've got maybe file sharing, then they don't work particularly well with that. They haven't got the right kind of access firmware. A lot of drives now, they work in the same way, but it's just the firmware is changed, so they excel at a certain thing. So obviously like the faster drives, they're designed for rapid I/O, but they're not particularly great for massive amounts of data. Conversely, the Skyhawk drives are good for streaming because of the way the firmware works. James Miscellaneous, Aletta, any recommendations for a good external NVMe M.2 caddy? I would be interested in that also. Russell Walton says, hey Mike, will you be reviewing the 3080? It's unlikely, if I'm completely honest. Even though it is a more affordable price tag, let's say, it isn't, but it is in comparison. £700 still for a graphics card is kind of crazy.
We've driven around in that.
Yeah, I've had cars which cost less than that. Yeah, £700 is a lot. I don't know whether I could wholeheartedly recommend spending that kind of money on a graphics card. But then I suppose if people have got the money and they want to buy it, they want to know how it works, then that does also make sense. If somebody like Zotac, for instance, reach out and say, Mike, we've got one, do you want to review it? And then send it back. I will do that. It's unlikely that I'm going to go out and buy one just for review purposes, because I don't personally think, well, wait until the reviews come out. If, for some reason, it will dramatically increase the speed that I can edit videos in Adobe Premiere, I will be very much considering it, because a lot of my time is taken up in video editing, especially at the moment, warp stabilizer. In video editing, warp stabilizer is mostly CPU bound, but if Nvidia work with Adobe and make it so that warp stabilizer can be offloaded to the GPU and it speeds that up, then yeah, I will be all over it. And it does seem that Nvidia does seem to have a closer bond to Adobe than AMD for some reason. Not sure why, but they do. They do seem to support Nvidia much better. Steve D says, hi Mike, how you doing? Ivory Wolfman says, don't forget the off-site, aka physical place, not online. Yeah, we covered that, I think. Yeah, leaving some... Russell Walton says, I love Game Max. I love Game Max too, but I don't know what's happened to them in the UK. They've gone very quiet. Very, very quiet. Like since kind of March, quiet. Must try and get hold of them again.
About the F15, didn't you?
Yeah.
And then after that, nothing.
Yeah, when the F15 was about, contacted them, said, I want to do a review on it. They're like, oh yeah, we'll try and get one out to you, but we're waiting for stock. So I, okay, don't worry, I'll just go and buy one because I want one anyway. Can you send me the glass panel? Because I'll buy a mesh version. If you send me the glass panel, I can do the review mesh versus glass. See what the deal is. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, do that. We'll sort it out for you as soon as we get stock.
Then it came a little bit broken.
Then, yeah, basically GameMax never got back to us. and we've emailed them a few times saying like, hey guys,
For some
it's
reason, our
me.
email ends up in people's spam.
Yeah, maybe we're in their spam. If you want to see some more GameX products on Mike's Unboxing, send them an email or drop them a line on Facebook and tell them. Say, can you please send Mike one of your cases to review? Because we do like Mike and he likes GameX. British Noob says, Mike, what do you think of the new Facebook layout? I personally dislike it, all zoomed in. For me, personally, I don't mind it.
It's a boomer style for his eyes.
I've got a 32-inch monitor, which is kind of there when I'm sat at my PC, so it's zoom central. So it kind of suits me. It's quite easy. I normally have two screens on the 32-inch, so I have like Discord or something dragged to one side, and I have YouTube and whatever on the other side. So for me, I actually have it half screen, so to me it looks fine. We've got another super chat come in. I can't see who it's from though. Ugly Bob. It's throwing another quid in the pot. Cheers, Ugly Bob. God bless you. There's some Russian stuff, don't understand that. Ugly Bob says, I use that Acronis True Image to do my backups on my Western Digital 4TB my cloud drive. I've never really tried Acronis. I suppose I should do. Might be worth a try at one point. Although, I know I've just said I'm trying to wean myself away from OneDrive and Google Drive, but I have actually noticed that the NAS drive has an option that I can back up from the NAS to OneDrive or Google Drive. But I don't think I've got enough room, so I might have to buy some more storage. So that is another option. So rather than actually my PC directly connecting to OneDrive, I could have it so my NAS connects to it and I don't have to. That could be my cloud storage. Someone's asking about a graphics card. Angry Doe says Reddit is mostly used for memes, I think. Yeah, I did see that. Radeon says Reddit website is shite. Yeah, I really don't like it. Reddit, for me, just, yeah. Facebook, I know a lot of people hate it, and yeah, it is basically a cesspool of human excrement, but it's relatively easy to navigate. Although saying that, if you've got your own Facebook group or page and your private account, that whole thing gets really messy really quickly.
But I think it's because...
So actually, if you send me anything to the Facebook page and I don't acknowledge it, I apologise, I'm just stupid and can't find it.
I think it's because for some reason it thinks it's my page.
It could be,
and
yeah.
it emails me stuff, and then I tell you and you forget. Or you're not here and I get it.
Oh, Scepter says, everyone's talking about RTX 3080s. I just got enough money for an RTX 570. If you got the money, I've got one there I'm getting rid of. My Gigabyte one. Steve D. Oh, I've rewinded the chat a little bit there, haven't I? Elemental Gaming MC says, Mike, 3060 confirmed. It hasn't been confirmed, but I would be amazed, absolutely amazed if it didn't happen. The 3060 will definitely appear. I would put money on a 3050 appearing at some point and a 3050 Ti or 3050 Super. I would also push the boat right out
and be completely wrong.
And be completely wrong, as I generally tend to be. It happens. But I would say we'll see a 3030, which would be a cut down version for OEMs. I would say that is going to be a thing, because there's a massive market, especially in some of the developing countries, where they're still buying GT 1030s by the bucket load. So they do sell, even though for a lot of people they're kind of very, very under the radar and they wouldn't touch it with a barge pole. But for OEMs and for developing countries where basically a graphics card is like a month's wages, which, come to think of it, is here. But for those kind of lower income areas, something like a GT 3030 with some kind of Turing-based, technology-based GPU, I think would sell like hotcakes. So yes, I think that will definitely happy. 3060 will definitely happen. I would stake an entire Mike's Unboxing pen on that fact. Ivory Wolfman says, have you heard of Dark Flash? They have cases identical to Sharkoon REV series. Yes, somebody actually mentioned that on the Discord quite recently and suggested it. I think that Dark Flash. Who was it who mentioned that? I think that was Thug. I'm pretty sure Thug Gaming actually mentioned that. Oh, and we got another super chat. Now, if you're wondering what the heck is going on with this flashing light stuff going, basically that is wired up to IFTTTTTT. So if someone sends a super chat, the super chat goes into a Google spreadsheet, which also triggers the Hive active plug to switch on and switch off after, I think it's 10 seconds or 20 seconds. So if you're confused what is going on, yes, that is triggered by super chats, just so I know they've come in. Because YouTube does a sucky, awful job at doing that. Sept says, crap, just bought one from CEX. Well, that's right, CEX give you 2-year warranty, which is a hell of a lot longer than I'd give you. Sky Stalker, what is the projected cost of a 3600? Sorry, a 3060. Now that is very much going to put me on the spot, isn't it? Okay, let's extrapolate and interpolate and speculate. That's pretty cool. Okay. Thank you, Irie Wolfman, for the super chat. €2. God bless you, Gov. Right, 3060. Let's hazard a guess. So 2060 at the moment is roughly in the UK about £300, give or take, including kind of COVID inflation, etc., and availability. I would suggest a 3060 will probably be, what are we at? 460 for, I would say 250. 250 to 300. I think it's going to be less than the existing range. They won't bring it down too low because they've already pissed off enough people with the 2080 thing, with it being way underpriced. And in the mid-range, they don't need to do it because there's, well, unless there's competition from AMD, the Radeon series. If there's strong competition, the 3060 may even come out at kind of 225, 250. Unlikely, but you never know. It might just happen. So, yeah, let's say, for argument's sake, let's say 250. I think that is a realistic price. We'll find out. James Miscellaneous, heart, you guys. God bless you. Thank you, James. Matthew Day says, SLI 3 of 1030s and you get a 3090. Good thinking. Aletta says, if anyone wants to talk tech, novel writing or music, my Twitter is at Aletta the Writer. Feel free to follow. A little bit of self-publicising there from Aletta. Feel free to follow her until she gets banned. It does happen frequently. Irie Wolfman, €2, says Google Dark Flash DLA22 Sharkoon Rev. Definitely have a look. I'm sure that's the one we had a look at the other day on Discord, and it does look extremely similar. Ghost Seller says an entire pen. Nah, Mike, you can't be serious. Yeah. Blur says hi, Mike. How you doing, Blurs?
Blues, I thought.
Blues, Blurs. Blues, of course it is. That's the thing about names on the internet. You never quite get a handle on how they're pronounced because when someone's thinking it and typing it, it sounds right in their head. But when you're reading it, if you don't know what it's meant to be, it's very difficult to work out. Anyway, Anthony Shaddux says, hey folks, how you doing? Ugly Bob says, sign your RX 570 you'll find a buyer, no problem, especially if you chuck in a pen too. Yeah, and if I use the one that I actually sign with, I'm saving ink. I'm so tight.
You're so tight.
I'm so tight. Steve D says, I think the RTX 3070 will be fine for all my needs still for 1440p. Still happy with my GTX 1070. Do you know what? I'm seeing that loads and loads in comments and in threads, discussions. The GTX 1070 is still the kind of the golden boy. Holding its value relatively well, can still be seen. There's some people who are still like, though, I think I'll sell it for £150. Why would you sell it for £150? There isn't any competition anywhere for that card at that price. It's still worth £175, £200 easy. UK based, obviously. Yeah, GTX 1070. I actually regret selling mine. I sold mine this week. Sad times. Got rid of the PC with it in. And yeah, the GTX 1070 is a phenomenal card. If it wasn't for the fact I had the 2060, I would have definitely kept it. Anyway. Ladios says 400. Is that £400 or euros or dollars? Maybe. Will the 3060 be 8 gig of RAM though? I would have thought so. I would have thought so. As the product stack is rising, I don't think, because the 2060 was a 6 gig, I think the 3060, to be competitive and to be faster, which it probably will be anyway, but also to maintain that kind of, oh, it's worth more because it's XYZ, I think it needs to be an 8 gig card. Especially if they're targeting the 1440p and possibly lower end 4K gaming with it, which realistically should be. James Miscellaneous says, at Steve D, no way get a 3070 when you have a 1070 already. Just me, still 8 gig. Frame buffer size is underrated. Ari Wolfman says $399 is £310. So yeah, kind of around that £300 mark. 250 to 300 is got to be around that. David Aiken says, I'd say 300. David Aiken 260 will be 1660 Ti, 1660's replacement territory. Ugly Bob says, don't suck that chair up your bum, you tight bugger. Lol. Thanks, Ugly Bob. Oh dear. Sky Stalker says, exclamation plus pound sign dollar dollar pounds for a GT 1070? Question mark, exclamation mark, question mark. Or £175. Irie Wolfman says Navi 2 is only 16 gigabytes. Only 16 gigabytes is a massive amount, but it's not necessarily how many gigabytes it's got, it's how it uses it, as we know. Because we had the RX 570s, which came with 8 gigs of RAM. Absolutely pointless. No real reason to need it. Doesn't really need that sort of size frame buffer. 4 gig is absolutely fine on that card. Blues, stroke blurs. I'm getting Corsair case and an RGB Cooler Master AIO. Is there normally 2 RGB headers so I can control my fans with? Oh God. Blues is probably a bit of a deep dive to go into on a stream, but feel free to join us on a Discord chat. Someone, hopefully one of the mods, can put a link in the chat so you can come over and discuss that fully and also give us the exact model numbers, etc., so we can work out what you've got going on there. David Aiken would go as far to say that the 1070 is one of the best GPUs ever in regards to value for money. Over 4 years old and still plays any game with relative ease. Yeah, I totally agree. The 10 series from Nvidia has been pretty much fantastic from start to finish. It generally has. I don't think really there's been a bad card. The 1060 3 gig was a little bit of a kind of like, really? Could have been a 4 gig, come on. Play ball. Even though still usable, and actually I had a couple of Zotac mini PCs, I think, which had a 1063 gig, and it actually worked fine. It was no biggie. It worked absolutely fine. It was just a little bit of a weird thing. The 1063 gig was kind of like a, even though it had a 1060 name, it wasn't as strong as a 1060 6 gigabyte. It was cut down a little bit, which I think that also caught out a few people. But yeah, the 10 series, I think, will be remembered as possibly one of the longest living and also probably one of the best value for money at points that there's been, although they did get massively inflated at one point, which it all went a bit crazy. Aletta says, I'd guess the 3060 to be around $350 to $499. Yeah, the 3060, if it is a AIB card, then Yeah, 499 for a ROG Strix or something. I could easily see that happening. So what is a 1080? So what is a 2080 Super worth in the UK? It's a very, very weird market here in the UK at the moment. I know a lot of people have gone about these crazy, crazy bargains that have been about, but I've been looking in our local region, in the kind of southwest here, and there isn't a lot to choose from. There really isn't. There's none of these crazy bargains. A lot of people are still asking in excess of £500 for 2080s, 2080 Ti's, that sort of stuff, when we all know that in a week's time there's going to be something which completely smashes it, in theory, for less money. So I don't think people have quite latched on in this part of the world. Well, we are a bit daft down here, but I don't think many people have caught on to the fact that this is happening, or at least they have caught on to it, and are maybe not pushing it too far by asking for silly money for the cards, although some still are. But there doesn't seem to be those massive, massive bargains, which I'm gutted because I was hoping to pick one up. Ah, Aletto did a typo, okay. Yeah, $350 to $400, yeah, that makes total sense. Glenn says, don't forget the Vega 56, sub 200 used and tops a 1070 while nibbling at a 1080. Yeah, the Vega cards were basically kind of almost, not universally, but completely overlooked by a lot of people. They still can offer some actually very good performance, although do make sure you've got a GPU, a PSU, which is up to the task, because they can swallow quite a lot of power. Ari Wolfman says, but Navi 2 is supposed to have a huge cache. Yeah, I think I heard them say it has like 128 megabyte cache, like core cache, which is mad. If you think the Ryzen chips, I think the 3950X, has that got like a 60 meg cache or something? Go on then, cat time. Come here. Oi.
They know they're not allowed up there. She just left her tail in the...
No, stop it. Alright, that's enough of that stupidness. Oh, I'm dizzy now. There we go.
It's a bit delayed.
Oh, gosh, there is a delay on there now. Yeah, actually, yeah, I'm not sure if there's. No, yeah, he's cancelled. Is Dave cancelled for tonight?
Yes.
Oh, no stream from IKEA after as the after party. That sucks. Oh yeah, Matthew Day says there was a Far East 1065 gigabyte. That is a weird one.
Did you see Renzo?
Renzo, anyone got news about when third-party video card producer will come out with the Nvidia 3000 series? No, is the honest answer. I don't think until after, when is it? Is it the 17th that they're doing the release? I think it's the 17th. I don't think we'll see them, actually no, tell a lie. Yeah, I think some of the UK online sellers have actually got AIB boards listed with prices for pre-order. Ugly Bob says, oh bless him, I'll send him a message later. Yeah, send your love out to IKEA. He's a little bit down at the moment, bless. Scepter says, cat! BB Lightfoot says, me gutted too, Mike. No knockdown price on last gen GPUs. Yeah, it's yeah, a bit gutted. Mike's unboxing cat channel. We do get the cats on. Cats do like the cats.
I'm quite tempted to get rid of all that crap behind you and have a cat tree.
What do you think? Having a cat tree behind here, get rid of all the PC crap and just put like a load of climbing stuff for the cats so they can just sleep and be lazy. Which is probably what they'll do. Seb says no, Mike's going to die. Perfect.
Death by cat.
Ricardo says no questions answered equals dislike, I think. Yeah, I think some people do that. That cat was Maisie. Yes, it was. Where are we? Robin says, I'll be going for the 3070 and the 3700X next month. If you're going for a 3700X next month, don't. Because next month, the 4000 series is going to be out. And if there's a 4700X, which there won't be, I'd imagine it'll be a 4700 on launch, that is going to be very, very interesting. And in fact, I think next month we could well see a mass exodus of AMD CPUs on the market again, where people are getting ready for that upgrade cycle, and suddenly all the kind of 1000 and 2000 series, which are showing their age a little bit, might be on the market. So could be getting some really good bargains next time. We'll see. James Miscellaneous says, you measure your happiness in friends and loneliness in cats. One cat is okay. We got 3 cats.
You work long hours though, didn't you then?
This is true.
They are 12, 9 and 8.
Irie Wolfman says the British are hoarders unless they get full price back. Yeah, that's me included on that one. Will the cat tree have RGB, says Clinton. Hell yeah, of course.
We could get them RGB collars.
Irie Wolfman says my mum's from Plymouth, so I'm allowed to say that even though I'm Irish. Okay.
And if you have cats in the background, you'll look like Carol Baskin. You have to wear flowers in your hair.
Oh God.
And you have to kill me and feed me to them. Allegedly.
The Bludgeon says, I'm really tempted to get the 3070 and Ryzen 5 4600 when that comes out, but I don't want to regret the 3070 if Big Navi is better. That is essentially what, yeah, that is the bone of contention. What is Big Navi going to do? Now, I did watch a video yesterday from Red Gaming, I think it is called. I forget the name of the channel now. The guy on there is amazing. He kind of spills numbers and facts and figures like he is like a kind of walking Google for AMD.
Listening.
Sorry, that was my hey device going off. Yeah, and I watched that last night, and some of the information was amazing. It does appear that Big Navi is going to be Big Navi. That is the kind of the consensus at the moment. People seem to be pretty optimistic about it. Now, we've seen this before with the Vega. There's been so many kind of times where AMD have blown their trumpet and then it's come out and it's gone. It's not been brilliant. So.
How's it go?
Huh?
How does it go?
That's what happens. AMD do that to us, unfortunately. But even the technical engineers at the moment, from what we've been hearing from behind the scenes talk, the AMD engineers are pretty stoked and they think they've got a pretty good product. And it seems to, well, there's been reports that says it does slightly less than the 3080, and there's been reports that it's slightly better than the 3080. So there's equal amounts of it's better than, it's worse than. So if you extrapolate that, if there's some reports saying it's worse than and there's some reports saying it's better than, you can pretty much guarantee it's going to be somewhere in the middle. So if it's somewhere in the middle of worse than best than, that means it's about the same. So maybe Nvidia knew this was going to be the case because of obviously there's insiders that do stuff and they talk to each other. We know this, there's spies and all kinds of shit going on. So that is maybe why this graphics card now is coming out when it is and for how much it is. I personally believe that to be true, and I think Big Navi is going to be the one to wait for. I know this is going to upset a lot of people and it's going to trigger a lot of people, and they're, no, Nvidia is going to boo in, they're going to be the better card. I don't know, I've just got a feeling. I have a feeling that AMD are going to come through, and finally I'm going to be able to have my all AMD moderately high-end system using just one set of AMD drivers, and it's going to be a beautiful thing. I'm hoping that is going to be the case. My inner AMD fanboy and supporting the underdog and all that kind of stuff, that is where I'm at, and I think that is going to be, I think that's what it's all about. Tech Deals says, do not buy a 3070. 3080 in the US is best value for the buck. For the extra, what, $200 I think it is, you do get a lot more for your money. Big Navi, 7-slot card, yeah, that would be pretty good.
Yuktarth up a bit.
Yuktarth, will the 3900X bottleneck with the 3080? It's impossible to foretell. If you extrapolate again the data that we've got, or the assumptions that have been made, that the 3080 is realistically going to be about 25 to 50% faster than the 2080 Ti or 2080. The 2080 in some instances will bottleneck with a 3900X. If it's a CPU bound title, obviously there is going to be some kind of bottlenecking going there. If it's a GPU bound one, it's unlikely. That is a high-end part with a high-end part. So realistically you shouldn't. If there is any bottlenecking of any sort, it will be minimal. And also specific to certain titles. Agam says, you think the RTX 3080 will go out of stock fast? Yes, I think it will sell out on the first day. I don't think that anyone's taken pre-orders. I'm not sure if they've actually allowed pre-orders this time round. I know they did last time, and they sold out like instantaneously. So I don't think they are. I think they've just released what they've got to who they can. They've allocated stocks, and they're not allowed to sell them until kind of 12 o'clock, whatever the case may be. I will have to double check that. Be honest with you, I haven't looked into it because I don't want to pre-order one. I don't want to put my money on it. It is too much at the moment, especially for the 3080. If anything, I'd wait for the 3070 at a push. 3060, yeah, definitely. But
Skystalker says no pre-order.
Again, for me, I think Big Navi is going to be the winner. Probably on price, because ultimately they know that if they release their graphics cards at a certain price now, they can take the market. So if they've got, say for instance with the 3080, that's a good example. So the 3080, $700. If they're 6800 RX 6800 is roughly the same performance as a 3080, which we'd hope it would be. If they can release it for maybe $50 less than the Nvidia, then yeah, they got it made. It does seem, from what we've heard as well from some of the other YouTubers and kind of insiders and what have you, that AMD are considering that. That is a very, very strong consideration, that if they release and when the benchmarks all come out, if they're within kind of spitting distance and it comes down to a decision of price, they will actually lower their price to make the product more competitive. Which for us as gamers, streamers, content creators, whatever it is, it can only be a good thing. Competition is always a good thing, and it drives prices down. You can tell there must be competition because Nvidia are not a charity. They're not known for giving stuff away. So to have a card which is faster than their current flagship by a margin, and to then massively reduce the price, like massively, less than 50%, or sorry, more than 50% of the price, is, yeah, I think they're scared, or at least concerned. They wouldn't be scared because Jensen's way too cool to be scared, but he's probably like slightly irked. Good word. Scepter says 3090, 20 fans, definitely, without a doubt. Oh dear. Ricardo says, I'll see the braggart tech tips or arrogant Jay's 2 cents opinions about the RTX 3080 on Monday. Yes, we'll, it is going to be, yeah, it's going to be interesting times. we all know that our inboxes are going to be absolutely flooded. As soon as embargo time lifts, which I think is what, 9 a.m. So for us in the UK, that's what, 2 p.m, something like that. It's just going to be, your mailbox is going to be do, 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 do. That's going to be a fun day. Renzo says, Nvidia should send a Foundation 3000 series GPU to review. That'd be a shame if they don't. Mike is one of the best reviewers. Oh, Renzo, that's so kind of you.
It is.
Very, very kind. Completely, I didn't pay him to say that. I didn't, did I? No, okay, no.
That's so sweet. That's so nice.
Yeah, that is very kind of you to say. I'm not a particularly good reviewer, but I am, if anything, brutally honest. So I say what I think. Probably to my my downfall at some points. But yes, it would be nice if they sent one. Although saying that, even if I had one now, I probably wouldn't be able to review it particularly well because I don't have a use case scenario for that amount of power. I generally don't.
We had something from Zotac.
Yeah, Zotac sent us their 2070, and it was like, what do I do with it? I'm completely screwed. I've got no real reference point because all my other graphics cards are a lot slower. I wouldn't spend this amount of money on a graphics card, so it puts me in a really bizarre position where I've gone from kind of normal person spec up to baller level like that, and it's like, what do I do? What can I benchmark? How do I justify this extra cost? I really struggled with that video for ages, and I was like, it was in the box behind me for a long time, and I kept on thinking to myself, I need to do a review on that, but what is my angle? What makes it interesting? If I just run some benchmarks on my system, people would be like, well, why didn't you use a 8700K or 1800X or whatever it was at the time? It's like, well, I don't have that. I don't have access to that kind of stuff. It was nice of them to send it to me, but it was a little bit of a wasted review. I did give my opinion on it. I wasn't overly praising of it because of its price, but I appreciated the power of it. And I also appreciate Renzo for saying that. It's very, very kind. And we've got another super chat coming. That is coming from, I'm going to screw this name up completely, aren't I? Yuktarth Nagar Ib. There's probably not so much of a gap between the Nagar and Ib on the end. I do apologise. Yuktarth Nagar Ib. Sorry if I've annihilated your name. I really do apologise. But thank you very much for your donation. I'm not even sure. What is that sign? That's a new one. I've not seen that before. But thank you. That's extremely kind of you. God bless you.
I think he had a question.
He probably had a question somewhere. I'm scrolling back up. Renzo, letters, retracted, Renzo, GPU, sorry, got it. Robin.
People with PCI.
Robin says, I'm so thankful I've waited over 6 months for the release of the 30 series and Zen 3 2. Yeah, it's totally, hopefully it's worth it. I'm banking on it, it will be.
People with PCI 3 need to upgrade for 30 series cards.
Yuktarv's question. No, I don't think that is the case. At the moment, there doesn't appear to be the bandwidth. Sorry, I'm trying to see the question again now. Oh God, I've lost it. Where are we? Actually, part of the other question. B450 motherboards would go well with next gen. This goes back to my my constant harping on, really. The B450 motherboards should go okay with next gen. Going well is a matter of interpretation. If you mean, can you plug it in, will it work? Yes, generally I think that is not going to be a problem. Is it the optimum solution? Potentially. It depends a lot on how the direct store API works. Basically, Microsoft have got an API which allows a graphics card to communicate directly with your storage medium, ideally NVMe. So based on how fast your NVMe drive is, it can stream textures for game worlds, etc. and game data directly from the NVMe, bypassing the CPU, which is brilliant, which means essentially open world games should have totally seamless ability to stream textures. So even in a very high move-in, high FPS environment, you shouldn't get any tearing, jaggers. Also, it can load textures further into the distance, so your game draw distance in theory should be better because you're not going to have to wait so much for the CPU to buffer those textures coming from the hard drive or SSD or whatever to the graphics card. So draw distance should be a little bit better, possibly. Although view distance is something these days which we don't really tend to use very much unless you actually switch it on. Most game designers tend to go with the depth of field. So things which are up front tend to be focused, and as things go backwards, you get that kind of bokeh effect or the blurry background, like you do in most YouTube videos, apart from this one, because it's all in focus. But generally, a filmmaker will always do that. So, you know, when you're watching a film and they do that pull focus, so say for instance there's one person in the foreground, someone in the background, the person in front speaks, the focus is on them. When they stop speaking and the other person answers, the focus then shifts to them and they become the center of focus. Depth of field is basically that principle, so anything in action is in focus, anything behind that is defocused. So open world games, depending on how the art director of the game is envisaged it, you could or may not get the full depth of field. Ideally, games like Fortnite or any of those kind of shooter games where you want to see everybody around you, depth of field is something you really definitely want to turn off. So in that environment, you'd want to stream all those textures for the entire visible map as quickly as possible so you can see enemies running around, all that kind of stuff. Have I gone off topic there? Kind of. What I'm trying to get to the point is modern motherboards, B550, X570 and potentially 600 series, if that is going to be a thing next month, you may find that that API is... What's it? She's laughing now. What are you laughing at now?
Okay.
Oh, God. Those APIs, in theory, will be supported much better on newer boards. That is what I'm saying. What is it? I've got to read the comments. I'm not going to say anymore. So yes, it will work with it. It is very likely it will work with it. But, yeah. Anyway, moving on. Ricardo says Indian rupees. Rupee, yeah. That always reminds me of the James Bond film. I think it was Octopussy. And he's being chased through the high street and he throws up all the rupees in the air and he says, Rupiah, Rupiah, and they all run out into the street grabbing the money so he doesn't get chased by the bad guys.
I didn't understand James Bond.
A little bit off topic, but Roger Moore. What a great James Bond. All those years you played James Bond and you didn't realise the guy was wearing a corset. Unbelievable. Okay, Hugh Wong says, everyone upvote, Mike's unboxing is fantastically fun. Wow. Okay. Ricardo says 2 dislikes from 1. That's okay. Paul Bakewell says... Oh, from 2 dislikes to 1. Alright, so whoever's in the stream and disliked it originally now likes it. Or they've had their account banded. Banded? Banned.
Or you've answered their question.
Or I've answered their question, potentially.
Is that the Havoc keyboard behind you? It's not.
No, the Havoc keyboard... Actually, the Havoc keyboard that I reviewed, was that this week?
Yeah, it was yesterday, I think.
Oh.
Seems like ages ago. I'm pretty sure it was yesterday.
No, it can't be because it's not on the list. You don't write it down.
Oh, we did.
No.
Did it,
The Havoc, yeah, the Havoc keyboard. No, that isn't behind me. The Havoc keyboard, we actually gave it away. There is a local Facebook group which I'm a member of, which is the Bristol Gaming PC group, and one of the guys there does a lot of work for a local church. There's a young disabled guy, or kid, I suppose you would say. Young kid wants to get into PC gaming. He's got some health issues, and the community are trying to build a PC for him so he can get into gaming. His parents had about £150, which isn't a lot for a gaming PC. So a few of us come together. I donated a case and the Havoc keyboard and mouse just to help the guy get him gaming. So we managed to get him it's a little bit of an older system. It's an FX 8350 with a half decent graphics card, plenty of RAM, storage space, etc. But it's in a brand new case with a brand new keyboard and mouse, so at least peripheral wise, he's brand new and up to date, even if the insides are a little bit on the old side. But we managed to get someone up and running in gaming and gave something back to those in need, so it makes me very happy. Giovanni says, good morning from New Zealand. New Zealand, well, g'day, mate. No, that's the other one, isn't it? Australia. Sorry.
Austria.
Austria. Oh, yeah. Paul Bakewell says we could do a Kickstarter to buy Micah 3080's review. No, there's much, much better causes you could do a Kickstarter for than giving me a graphics card. If I wanted one bad enough, I would go and hang out on street corners and sell my useless ass. But
Who gave you 1 pence?
yeah, I would end up going to CEX with a handful of 5p's. That's no fun for anybody. Oh, the bludgeon has to, no, have it keyboard and mouse in the combo. No, the keyboard combo behind me has been the one which has been there for ever and a day, which is the Rio Toro. It is the Rio Toro Ghost Writer Pro RGB. And also, out my leg. Sorry, I'm flexing under the table. I've been sat down too long. The mouse, you can't see the mouse, can you? There you go. Just about to see the logo on the mouse. Rio Toro. They sent me this ages ago, and actually I do quite enjoy that mouse. It's a larger mouse, and it fits my hand very, very, very nicely. Another British Noobs gives us £2. Says, good guy, Mike. Thanks, mate. Well, I'd like to try and do stuff if I can. And I like to. Some people do nice things or kind things for charities and stuff, and they don't say anything about it. But I think if you do stuff nice like that and you talk about it, you're putting it out there into the kind of the cosmos and all that stuff, and also the people that are watching you. So if they think that you're a cool person and you do nice things, maybe in some way you might influence them to do nice, cool things. In which case, it just keeps on going on. So yeah, if you do something nice for someone, tell everyone about it.
And we also sold that thing on Facebook, didn't we? And let them have it cheaper when it got here.
This is true. Also, yeah, there was I sold an old PC which it was very, very inexpensive. It was basically I gave it away, and the guy turned up and he said, "I'll be round in a couple of minutes. I really need it for my son. I think it was son or daughter, basically a young person trying
Didn't
to."
haggle on the price or anything.
Didn't haggle on the price. Agreed to the price. It was like £40 or something for an old PC, and he turned up, and I noticed when he turned up outside the house, he turned up in an Uber. I'm pretty sure that was his job, so he's basically running around all day for people and doing stuff and earning money for his family and stuff. And I thought, what the hell? Like, just give me 30 quid. So I give him his tenner back. I said, look, just keep it. Buy yourself something. Get yourself a drink or buy something for your kid or whatever. I don't care. And it's just nice. It's nice to do those sort of things for people if you can. Just, I don't need the money. I'm not like scrabbling around at the end of the month under the sofa looking for pound coins to try and pay the bills. I'm all right. We look after our finances. We do what we can. We don't spend loads of money. We look after, like I say, we haven't had a new kitchen in 15 years. We're that kind of people. We look after our money and we kind of plan for the unexpected, so to speak. So if you can do something nice for someone, even if it means reducing the price on something or giving something away if you don't need it or not using it, or you just makes you feel good. It's a nice thing to do. It is a very nice thing to do.
What was the group called?
And actually, I'm being a bit disingenuous, actually, because Have It sent me the keyboard and mouse free of charge for review, so it didn't really cost me anything anyway, but it was just still a nice thing to do, I think.
What was the group called?
The group was called Gaming PC Parts Bristol, or Bristol PC Gaming Parts, I think, one of those two. It's a private group on Facebook, but you can search it quite easily enough. There's often some good stuff on there. Where are we?
I don't think it wasn't a help group, was it? It was a computer group.
Yeah, just a computer group for buying and selling stuff.
It just happened to be somebody you knew from there doing that.
Giovanni at Sky Store says, doing well. Join the channel after looking at a review on the Gigabyte AX370M review. A cheap but actually good motherboard. Yeah, it was good actually. That was a bargain for 30 quid. Remember it well. Ricardo Bond, paper bond. Ba-boom. Ugly Bob says it turned up on UK Hot Deals, I think. Yeah, the Have It keyboard and mouse, if that's what you're talking about. Yes, it did. NBA Extreme says, hello, I'm from the Discord. Hiya. Ugly Bob, yeah, keyboard mouse still. Yes, it did, yeah. Aletta says, Mike's Unboxing is the only live stream I do. Well, we are honoured to have the Big O in our presence. God bless you. And all those that sailing, yeah. Yuktarth. Sorry, that made me chuckle. Yuktarth says, at Aletta, I don't have a girlfriend, hence I have a 3900X and a 2070 Super. Right on. There's a lot of that in this technology world. James Miscellaneous says, Aletta, he's one of the 2 channels I'm subscribed to. Aw, you guys are too kind. Irie Wolf says, Bob, I just registered with Hot Deals too. Yeah, UK Hot Deals is pretty decent. For those, obviously, in the United Kingdom, it does make sense. UK Hot Deals is very good.
No, it's not.
Hmm?
They banned me.
They banned Kath because she was promoting my shit all the time. Skystalker.
But they banned me and I can't cancel their daily email because I can't go in to get rid of it.
That's true, yeah.
I had to block them.
Giovanni says, a computer is better than no computer at all, infinitely faster. This is very true. Irie Wolfman says, I have a wife and 2 girls, that's why I have an APU. Sad times. Ricardo says, I like Tech Deals channel, although his live streams are really very long. He has very good content. Well, his content is very good. Tech Deals cracks me up, it really does. He comes across as a very, very straight-laced, super white teeth, clean-looking boy, but he does say some smutty stuff. And sometimes it goes under the radar. He's very cool about that. But yeah, he's a dog. I would love to go out for a drink with him. I bet he's absolutely hilarious. Maybe one day when all the COVID stuff is over, and if we ever get invited to anything over in... is it Las Vegas? Isn't it? Yeah, any of the shows, I've got to find him. I've really got to find him. Ampedition says, I always wait to see side-by-side comparison. Oh, that's, I guess, about the graphics cards and stuff. Makes sense. Actually, it makes sense for anything, regardless. Whether it's a pair of trainers, whether it's a pair of
shoes.
Pants, I was going to say. I was going to say shorts, then pants, then socks. And socks made no sense at all, even less sense than pants.
Side by side comparison of a pair of socks.
Let's edit that bit out, Kath, okay? Let's go again. And action. Always wait to see side by side comparison. Ampedition, that is a great idea. Oh man, I'm so full of cold at the moment, it's ridiculous. Anyway, moving on. Alexa says, I almost missed the stream today because I didn't realise it was Saturday. That's COVID for you. Messing up your shit, it really does. I'm confused what day it is. I work part-time in a local shop and yeah, I do different days all the time. It's just, I wake up and it's like, do I need to be awake today?
So he leaves his alarm on every day.
So I have my alarm set every day. Just in case that I should have been up. That saves you not waking up. But it means you don't technically get a day off because you always get woke up by your alarm.
And it was your day off today, but you got called in anyway.
Yeah. Today was my day off, technically. But I did get called into work to help out. So, yeah, it's not been the best of days. Renzo. Oh, Renzo, you're so fine, you blow my mind. Hey, Renzo. Sorry. I don't know why I even did that. I am stupid beyond belief. Right, bit off topic, but I'm struggling right these days trying to tune my 3 intake and 2 outtake fans with positive pressure, etc. I'm a newbie. Bless you, Kath. Renzo also goes on to say, I think that ASRock Boss Autofan Tuning doesn't realise how many fans are plugged into a single Mobo header. They report S1200, for example, but there are actually 3 fans at 1200, or is it 3 fans, 400 each, 1200 RPM in total? Yes, Ricardo answers that question as I was about to actually. Yeah, what fan brand have you got? Which model do you have installed? Some fans are static speed, so they only run at 1200. Arctic P12 in front, PWM PST, F12 PWM PST on back. Right, yes, so that is registering, if that's registering 1200, that is basically there at full blast. So somehow your system is registering that they are all spinning at 1200 RPM, which I think is pretty much their top end.
What is CFM?
Shouldn't really need to do that. CFM is cubic things per meter, so it's basically how much airflow. RPM doesn't really mean anything, so you can be doing 5,000 RPM but a very low CPM or very low airflow. Whereas some fans do very, very low RPM but have high CFM. It's basically airflow. Aletta says, I think she says, I've just scrolled too far. Ugly Bob says he's a dirty boy.
So how would you fix those fans?
To fix those fans, right, it could be potentially you've got them plugged in wrong somewhere, so the RPM signal is being misrepresented. I don't think I've found ever using those particular fans that mine have defaulted to the full speed. So if they're ramping up to full speed straight away, something is definitely wrong somewhere. So I would suggest maybe plugging one fan into the header on its own first of all, and making sure that it ramps up and ramps down accordingly. If not, you might have a problem with the motherboard or the header itself. Might even be worth going into the BIOS and doing a reset of the fan monitoring software, or basically go into the fan monitor
Or join Discord.
and set it. Yeah, Kath actually said a very sensible thing, which had to happen.
One day.
Go into our Discord, join up to there, and then we can talk you through it or show you pictures, or you can take screenshots or whatever. We can guide you through the process. It's relatively straightforward, but if you've got someone pointing in the right direction, yeah, it's a lot easier. And also, if something goes wrong, then at least we can share the blame. James Miscellaneous says Tech Deals guy is a swinger. Allegedly, we should add that at the end of there. Aletta says Tech Deals chats with me on Twitter all the time. Actually, Aletta is one of the few people that I actually follow on Twitter, and I have noticed that, because I follow Tech Deals as well, and I have noticed them two having chats quite often. He is a funny guy.
So is a letter on Twitter.
Anthony Shallock says Tech Deals is in Texas. That explains a lot. I've always fancied going to Texas. Irie Wolfman saved me, thank you. Cubic feet per minute, aka airflow. Yes, CFM. Oh god, I've gone too far. No, I haven't. Where are we? Ricardo. Where are we? Ricardo says, right now my system temp is 44 degrees with 4 fans. Not bad, not bad. Dave Burns. Oh yeah. Dave Burns just got back from picking his daughter up. Awesome. Glad to hear it. Skystalker says, blame Skystalker. Everyone else does. Seems very reasonable. We should definitely all do that. And PWM splitter could help. With those particular fans, they do actually have a PWM kind of splitter of sorts with them. So the Arctic fans, if you've used them before, there's basically a fly lead that comes off it, which is for PWM sharing. So you can daisy chain. I think I've had about 6 of them together on one channel, which is kind of a little bit pushing it for some motherboard specs, but it can be done. I've definitely had 3 on like a front system. I think actually it was the Ions KZ10 video I did, where I did the build and I had the Arctic F12 fans in, and I had those all 3 on the front daisy chained up. They were great. Ugly Bob says Tech Deals guy tried to convert me to Tech Dealsology. Praise Bejeebus. Lester says I lived in Texas. It was too hot. Yeah, Ugly Bob says welcome back, Dave. Hi, Dave. Aletta says, Ugly Bob, I trust in dog. Giovanni says, always prefer 140mm fans than 100mm fans, apart from insufficient space. Is there any time you would use them? I'm not sure about 100mm. I've seen 92mm and 120mm. Maybe that's a typo. Aletta says, I want some of the new Lian Li fans that slid together with only one cable. Yeah, I'm not going to get involved with that. basically, can you, thank you, Kath. I have actually got some new fans in from our good friends at InWin.
Both.
Yeah, please. So for the RGB lovers out there who want simplicity and can't afford the Lian Li fans, which basically is most human beings, this box of 3 fans, or rather, this box of 3 fans costs the same as one single Lian Li fan. These also have a kind of pass-through connector. So rather than being the slot together one, which is a little bit restrictive, these have got like basically a pass-through cable. There's a review coming out of these on, what day is it?
Tuesday, maybe?
Tuesday, I think. So you've got 120mm fans, basically full set, 3, 35 quid with a controller. So if you haven't got RGB or addressable RGB, you can use a controller. It's the whole shooting match in a box. Awesome. But a lot of people say, well, that's great, yeah, 120mm fans, but I want something bigger. So InWin have done the obvious thing, and they've basically stretched them to 140mm. So you get 3 140mm fans. I'm not entirely sure of the price of these because these technically aren't released yet in the retail market, so I can't give you an exact price for these. I'm estimating they're going to be about £5 dearer, about £40 for a set of 3. These, well, you'll see in the video, they look amazing. Actually, sod it, let's take one out. Spoilers. Well, kind of spoilers.
Our Wolfman's just ordered
Ah, Irie Wolfman says, the fans I ordered. What? How much did you pay for them, and where did you get them from? I'm interested to know, because we've been trying to find these actually from someone who sells them online anywhere, and they just do not seem to exist. So that is the 140mm fan. I love these. These look great. So you've got opaque blades, you've got opaque sides. Excuse me. COVID. Rubber dampeners, both sides. And they've got the sharing technology, so there's a plug there and a plug there, and you can daisy chain these suckers as much as you want. Doesn't have to have any USB software or any other software installed. Literally works from your own motherboard. So no extra software, brilliant. Adjustable RPM from, I think, actually I know for a fact, 500 RPM up to 1400 RPM. So these suckers can push an absolute metric shit ton of air. And actually, the CFM on these is 93.97. So that is essentially a meter of air in a minute. A square meter of air. A square meter of air is massive. If you think of a cube on your desk, 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot.
Got to go out. Just the 2 sides.
Big box, little box. If you imagine a massive box, which is like a meter square, which is basically much, much, much bigger than any of your PCs that you've got, even if you're some crazy mad scientist and you've built one that has sheets of metal.
Even bigger than the letters.
Yeah, it's even bigger than the letters. Lian Li 011 Dynamic XL and her spares box put together. So this can move the entire contents in air of that size container every minute. So you imagine putting a couple of these together, this is going to push out some serious, and even just spinning it like that with my hand, it's just ridiculous the amount of air that these things push through. And the best of all, it's not focused. So it's not coming out in a straight line, it's kind of diffused. So if you've got this in your PC, you've got maybe your glass panel there, the back of your motherboard there, rather than just going straight into your graphics card, this thing is just blasting air out in all directions. So it's going to circulate around the system. And if you've got one of these as an exhaust as well, yeah, insane. I'm so looking forward to finding an actual PC case to build these in. It's going to be brilliant. Irie Wolfman says $34.99 straight from InWin. Is that the 140s or the 120s? Are they doing the 140s for the same price? That is good. If they're doing it for the same price for the 140s, that's amazing. Might bust in some shapes, yeah. But anyway, look at the, well, can you focus on that, Kath, please? If it won't do it. There we go. Look at that.
Feel the depth there.
Hello, depth of field, blurry background me, in focus fans almost. But yeah, look at that. Well, actually, let's get a close up on those connectors. So there is the pass-through connectors. So 6 pins, and you've got obviously 3 pins are doing your RGB, digital RGB. The other 3 pins are doing your PWM and power duties. But all in all, blurry background. Oh yeah. So there we go. That is the in-win fans. I'm not going to plug them all up now because it's just, well, it doesn't take a long time, but it's just a pain in the backside. But you get a SATA power controller, which is awesome. There's also a pass-through as well. I'm not going to do that. There is a pass-through connector, and it's basically simple. What we do is connect up one main power lead to this box, fly lead into your first fan, and then you can use either the little diddy connectors or the longer connectors. So if you've got maybe one fan at the front of your case, and then you've got another one at the back, you can just run one of these cables around the back of your motherboard, all out of the way, into the back fan. A very, very nice setup. And you've got the PWM connection, so plug that into your PWM header on your motherboard, so you only need one header to power all the fans. And the other one is your digital RGB, just plug into your motherboard, or just press the button on there, or you can connect up a reset switch, as you do with quite a lot of the other ones. So for those people that have seen things like the up here fans, and have been like, they're pretty decent, these are pretty much the same price, but I would say, well, I'm not saying it like that. They're just a much better quality. They are sleeve bearings rather than hydro bearings, so you've got the benefits of not evaporating over time, or the fluid coming out of them. As long as you keep the bearings relatively clean, keep your system clean, then you shouldn't have any problems, and you should get a pretty long lifespan out of them. Anyway, 35 quid.
No.
35 euros.
No.
What? Go on, Kath.
Our one said it looks like he's ordered the 120s, so he's got to cancel.
Right, he's ordered the 120s.
So we still don't know the price.
Yeah, I don't think there is a price yet on their site. I have been over to various iterations of InWin site because they do sell all around the globe, and I'm pretty sure these are not available anywhere as of yet. I'm still waiting to hear back from InWin. I've emailed them over the weekend to see what the price is on these so I can confirm it. Those ones, the 120mm ones, definitely. They're 35 euros, roughly about £35, give or take. These have got a slightly lower CFM. Obviously, you'd expect that. They're about 20% smaller, so you get about 20% CFM. So these top out at 77.17. So again, that's just under a meter, roughly. That's 70 square. Moves a lot of air, moves even more air. So anyway, there's going to be a review coming out for these, or unboxing a review, and you'll see them in action probably Tuesday or Wednesday. So yeah, they are looking good. British Noob says, Mike, I'll buy them for 20. Kath, box them up. Actually, no, I need them. Screw you, hippie.
Xbox Gamer said, would the blurry background issue go if you turned off autofocus?
Would the blurry background issue go off if you turned off autofocus? It's actually a weird thing, because the way I'm using the camera at the moment is basically in almost like standby mode, but there's a HDMI lead coming out the side going into the capture box. If I press the record button, autofocus would kick in and it would keep focus on whatever I've got the focus set to. For some reason, when it's in the kind of standby mode, it's waiting for you to press the shutter halfway to actually gain focus before you start your shot. You can set it to manual focus, so you have a specific spot in mind. There is allegedly a way you can do it. I've got it set to AFC, which is autofocus continual, but it doesn't work. Lumix's autofocus is pretty shocking, to be honest with you. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Turning off autofocus probably wouldn't do it. Although saying that, because of the lens I'm using, if I turn off autofocus and just set a focus point about here, most of the stuff kind of a couple of feet in front and behind will still be in focus anyway. Giovanni says, yeah, my typo, 140mm by 120mm from before. Why not use 140mm versus 120 unless space is an issue? It's mostly because most fans are, or most cases rather, are set up. People were always pushing for 360mm radiators. That was kind of like the goal, to get the optimum cooling in a system. It's very rarely you see a 420 radiator, which is like 140s high. So 360 rads seem to be the sweet spot, and for most case manufacturers, keeping down size, etc, etc, 360 was kind of like the golden size. So 120mm became the go-to size for fans because 120 fits in perfectly with that. 360s, most cases will take a 120 on the front.
Something went wrong. Try again in a few seconds.
Thank you, Google. 240s, 360 is generally the sizes. So 120 generally is the cheaper and more available option. 140 is a little bit wider. Not many cases will accommodate a 140 fan up front. It is becoming more and more popular now, but generally over the last probably 5 years or so, 140mm fronts have been the rarity rather than the norm. So yeah, it is much better to use a 140 if you can. Although, if you do use 140s, generally most cases won't take 3 up front. It's quite a rare thing. The one we did recently, which was the Sahara C501, that took 3 140s up front, so that's a monster for cooling. That would have been perfect, but unfortunately that case is gone. So that was the one I was going to put these in, but yeah, the twist of fate turned and it didn't happen. So we are still waiting for a case now to put these in. I did say actually in the review that I've done already that InWin, weirdly, don't do a case, like a consumer level case, which you can put a 140mm fan in. So for them to release these as 140s is mad, because literally there isn't a case they sell that takes it. At least not that I can find. All of their cases generally are 120mm size fans. So on the bottom, normally, on the tops, they've got that other one where it goes through weirdly at the top. It's a very strange setup. 901s, the 101s don't, yeah, very few of their cases. InWin Alice doesn't have any fan holes. It's got no, it's basically all hole in it.
Something went wrong.
Right.
Try again in a few seconds.
Just stand in the corner until you can behave.
Stupid ass thing.
Put her in the corner.
Yeah, sit in the naughty step. So, yes, looking for a relatively decent case to do a build in that. Hopefully we'll do it soon. Aletta says, looking forward to the fan review. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing it actually. It's going to be fun, a lot of fun. Another proper review in a case with it all set up. I really want to test them to see what they'll actually do.
You go in.
Ghostseller says, I need to find my USB DVD drive so I can play directly on PSX2. That's piracy, shouldn't say it. Bye, Michael. Bye. Giovanni P says, Aletta says, I use 120mm fans because my radius is 360. Yeah, basically reinforcing my point there. I do have 2 140mm on the top of my case. They push a ton of air. Yeah, 140 fans do make a big difference. Dave Burns says, I think my InWin Mana could take 120 and 140s at the front. That's interesting, yeah, the Mana, that's, did I have one of them?
No.
No, I don't think I have. Might have to take a look at that. He killed Google, yes I did, they might get upset about that. Okay, so I've just realised what time it is actually. We've been going on for way too long. It's 11:30 and I've been whittering on like some kind of idiot. So let's have a quick look now and see what our GPU plans are looking. So have you all done your votes, etc.? We'll have a quick look now. Which button have I got to press? I always do get this wrong, so I'm stupid. There we go. So, finalising, what are your GPU plans? So, the winner that gets it actually at the end is the wait for the mid-range cards to release, which, yes, has got 29% of the votes, followed up closely at the rear, so to speak, with the best value regardless of brand, 27% of the votes. Next up is going to be a bit of a toss-up between watch YouTube videos but stick with my current card and high-end Nvidia. I'm imagining that Skystalker voted for high-end Nvidia. I would be amazed if he didn't. And
Goodbye.
those are the two at the end, the high-end Radeon and not bothered until after Xmas. So high-end Radeon doesn't seem to be getting much love, which is a shame. But never mind. So there we go. That is the results. Thanks all of you that have voted, and I'll take a screen grab of that. I think. Oh, I'll do it in a minute. We're doing a screen grab so we can see that for prosperity and see actually how things turn out and see if after the releases if people would have voted differently or whether it still makes absolute obvious sense. So thank you all for joining us this evening. It's been a bit of a long one. I do apologise for that. Kept you all well, not on the edge of your seats, probably dozing off, but waking up periodically when you hear the cats or me talking rubbish. But thank you all for your donations and your comments and contributions. Hopefully it hasn't been too boring for you and you've enjoyed yourselves. Unfortunately tonight there isn't a stream from our friend IKEA Shadow, so maybe we'll do that next week or sometime in the week if there is. If you're a member of our Discord, then you can be notified of obviously when we're streaming or when Dave's streaming. Also you can go to IKEA Shadow's Discord also and get it from there. We've got another super chat. A last minute super chat, if I could see who that's coming from. Skystalker, bless you. Another 10 Canadian rupees, bless you for that. He says, thank you for the stream. Thanks for a great stream even, Mike and Kath.
Did you get somewhere else tonight?
Oh, James Miscellaneous says, oh, you were going to talk trolling. I suppose I should. Yeah, should we do a little bit more? Have you guys got time for a little bit more? Or are they all leaving already?
Still, I think they're all there still.
They're all still there. Okay, we'll quickly talk about trolling. I don't want to get too involved in it, and luckily it's right at the end of a long stream, so probably most people aren't going to see it apart from you that are the loyal, that have stayed through to the bitter end.
Dave Burns might do a stream tomorrow.
Excuse me. Sorry, Kath, can you get me a drink? Water or something?
Carly?
No, better not. So, trolling. This week, we've had a relatively newish member of the Mike's Unboxing flock, James Miscellaneous, which some of you may already know from his excellent work on YouTube. As a up-and-coming YouTuber, I did see a couple of his videos and I was actually quite interested to see what he had to say. And a lot of it actually reminded me of me when I started out. Kind of trying to find my way, seeing what works, and essentially just kind of shooting whatever was on my mind. And I completely applaud that because it is basically the only way to get on YouTube is to be on YouTube. Excuse me a second. Sorry for the AMSR or whatever they call it. ASMR. What's it called?
ASMR.
Noise shit. Okay, so yeah, going back to James's stuff. Yeah, I thought I'd take a look. And one of his videos, which actually piqued my interest considerably, was he had he didn't have a disagreement. He disagreed with some of the things that another YouTuber said. And this is quite a well-known YouTuber for those in the tech community, and I share similar views as James. So when I noticed that James had done this video, and actually somebody posted it onto this other YouTuber's live stream. So as soon as I seen it, it was like, oh, I gotta see this. So yeah, checking it out, and yes, this other YouTuber, which may or may not be named in the chat, I'm not going to say it, but if any of you want to, you're more than welcome to, because you probably know who it is anyway. Someone's already said it, so okay. So yeah, James was pointing out some of the kind of, flawed is probably the wrong word, but some of the kind of contradictory things that this other YouTuber says, which it happens. I know I've said stuff on streams or in videos before, and then a couple of weeks later I've kind of flip-flopped and I've said something different. But in defense of myself, generally if I do that, or I find myself being wrong, I will put my hands up and say, sorry, I'm a douchebag, or I found this. I'll explain to you why I've changed my mind. I won't just kind of say, well, no, that's still my opinion. I don't care what you say. This is still my opinion, regardless of the facts or what you have to say. This is my opinion and this is final. I'm an expert. I'm not like that. Some people are, I don't, because that pisses me off. I get triggered by it. The whole God complex, the whole God complex thing, or the inability to take criticism or constructive advice really, really gets to me. So yeah, when James did this video, I had to have a look and see what it was. And I read through it and watched the content. I actually watched it a couple of times just to get in my mind straight what James was saying. And he wasn't outright dissing this person. He was just saying, I disagree with people. And then these are the instances I disagree with. This is why, this is my reasoning. I'm being very kind of pragmatic, is that the word? I'm not sure what the word is, but basically it was very concise and he summed up his opinions. And I thought, yeah, fair play. You've basically reflected or mirrored my own thoughts. So yeah, fair play to you. Well done, mate. And I noticed there were some comments coming into the video. And immediately I saw one of the names in the comments and I was like, I recognise that name straight away. And it's one of the moderators from the other person's channel. So immediately the kind of alarm bells are ringing. So I know what happens on YouTube videos. If there is any kind of beef or anything like that goes on between YouTubers, generally they go over to the other video and start making comments and try and change people's minds. Because that's the world we live in at the moment. We're in a world where there's very much a kind of 50-50. There's 50% of people wanting one thing, there's 50% wanting another, whether it's a president, Brexit, AMD, Nvidia, whatever the case may be. Everyone is divided in some way or other, and no more so than on YouTube and in the comment section. So I was expecting it to get a little bit rough, and basically a lot of people have come over and criticised James's opinions, which obviously they're entitled to do. That is what YouTube is about. It's an open forum, relatively. You can say what you like, and people can say what they like back to you, as long as it's not like racist, sexist, or whatever. You know the limits, what you can say and what you can't. As long as you keep it relatively civil, you can say what you want and get your opinion across. Some people struggle with the whole civil thing, but they make their comments anyway, and you take it on the chin. You can make the decision then whether to delete it or whether to go with it. And in James's defense, I think he's actually, yeah, he's basically taken what they've said and then either countered it or said, yeah, okay, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Absolutely fine. But you do find that unfortunately, the other YouTuber in question, the channel is very... I'm trying to think of the word now without getting myself into trouble. It's very evangelical, I would say. If you've ever watched those priests or preachers or whatever you want to call them on those evangelical kind of channels, where they're just talking and talking and talking and they're all smiles and all this stuff. But you kind of get the feeling all the time that they're sucking you in, they're pulling you in, and almost like...
trying to convince you.
Yeah, they're convincing you that what I say is gospel, quite literally in some cases, obviously for the more church-based ones. But often with those channels and those types of channel, if anyone comes on, especially in a live chat, which is the kind of the format that it's generally set as, if someone comes in with an opinion other than that of the host, generally they get either beaten down, kicked off, banned, whatever it is. Now me personally, I've actually been kicked off that channel purely because I was watching a stream and I was repeatedly suggesting that something was being done wrong and needed to be addressed, and constantly told by moderators he will address it when he needs to, or he knows what he's doing, he's been doing this for 30 years, etc, etc. And it's like, I don't care, you could have been doing this since the moment you were born, it doesn't matter. But if you're doing something wrong and I see it, I'm going to call it, because why wouldn't you? Yeah, people do it to us. If I'm doing a live stream, if I'm talking about something and I'm completely wrong, they'll tell me something, yeah. If I can't get CPU clips done up on a Freezer 33, sorry, if I can't get the CPU clips done, people are going to know about it and they're going to see it and they're going to call me on it.
Every video after.
Yeah, and I will be called on it for time and eternity. But I'm cool with it because I admitted that I was struggling. I didn't say, oh, these clips have been engineered. Actually, no, I did say these have been engineered badly. Although, in fairness, those clips are pretty awful and a lot of people do struggle with them. But it was ultimately my fault as well. There's ways I could have done it differently, which would have made the clips easier to do. I was doing it on a stream, so that didn't make it the best angle. I could have taken my time, got closer and all that, but it was a stream, so I didn't. But I did slightly mock the clips, but I also took into account my own stupidity. Yeah, it's not about me. Yeah, so essentially that is what my beef is. If someone disrespects something or says something is rubbish or bad or doesn't work or whatever, just because they don't understand it or they don't have the experience to use that processor, product, fan, whatever the case may be, if they don't have the experience to outright slate it and then try and convince the rest of their flock that this is a bad product, you shouldn't buy it, what kind of person is that? That's like almost like a dictatorship. People, like, I say to people on here, yeah, I'm openly a fan of AMD stuff. I admit there's Intel stuff, and if you want to go and buy Intel stuff, go ahead, do it. I don't mind. It's absolutely fine. Personally, I don't like to buy that stuff myself, and I probably wouldn't go out and buy it, but if you want to buy it, that's fine. This other person is the entirely other side of the fence, and basically anything that AMD does is kind of overclocked out of the box and is pushing technology way too fast, and they're burning themselves out. It's like, really? Okay, so AMD have done a bad thing by making processors which are costing less than their Intel counterparts, but perform roughly the same, if not better, in some applications, and are readily available on a more modern fabrication process. Somehow that is making AMD a weaker company because they're doing what they want. They're doing it for the customers. Like the backtracking on the whole B450. No, what was it? AMD said they weren't going to support. Yeah, B450s. They weren't going to support B450 for the new Ryzens, and then they backtracked because of all the political kind of stuff in the reviews and what have you. It's like, well, they backtracked because it was a sensible thing to do. They have the technology to be able to do it. They've not said, yes, we are specifically going to release BIOSes for every motherboard. They've said, all right, fair enough. We appreciate your concern as customers. We don't want to piss you off totally. We've probably crossed the line. Yes, we said we were going to support these CPUs up to 2020. It's 2020. Some of you think that meant the end of 2020. Some of you think it was the beginning of 2020. No one's really entirely sure, but as a gesture of goodwill, we're going to release the AGESA code to the manufacturers. It's their ball game. If they want to do the BIOS updates for these boards to support newer chips, they're totally fine. They can do that. We don't really want to get involved with that side of things because we got other things we're concentrating on. But if the manufacturers want to do it and look after customers, we're cool and we will help them as much as we can. In some way, that has made AMD a weak company by giving in to the customers. What an asshat. Honestly, like, he actually said, can you imagine Intel doing that? It's like, well, no, I don't think Intel would do it. Although, having said that, they have, when Sandy Bridge and Ivy Bridge were around, there was various tweaks that were done then to make intercompatibility, I believe. So yes, they have done it. Yeah, so I don't understand it. So I still can't get my head around it. AMD making really good processors on a newer fabrication plant, doing the right thing by manufacturers to give them the option of supporting the customers, somehow that makes them a weaker company, even though their stock price has gone through the roof and they've got some really shit hot products and are basically wiping the floor of Intel. That's making them a weaker company. So a weaker company has a bigger market share, is winning the hearts and minds of the community, but yeah, that makes him weak. I can't fathom it. I really can't fathom it. How can, like, am I wrong here? Am I completely on another planet? I really, really don't get it.
Q-Link.
So,
Q-Link.
yeah. Let's give the Q-Link a rub.
Now you look totally tin hat.
Tin hat. There'll be a meme of that on the Discord before you know it. But you see what I'm saying? This is, I appreciate that this YouTuber has a long history and a lot of experience in well, he says,
Say this.
eh?
You're gonna have to say this.
Yeah, I know, I'm gonna have to say this. Ugly Bob's donated £2 and his comment is, Kerry Holzman is a bellend. He said Holtzman, so that's not technically libelous. Nice sound, Ugly Bob. Yeah, Aletta says it right there. AMD CPUs are weak. Please, sir, may I have another one? Yes. It's I don't get it. ClickText Kev say I'm just reading through the comments on James's video. Actually, yeah, please, all of you, if you want to help support the work of us kind of seemingly knowledgeless dipshit YouTubers who don't know what we're talking about, please feel free to go over to James's channel, check out the comments, and make up your own minds. The thing that really irks me is not only does this information cause disinformation because it's factually incorrect and absurd, really. It really is absurd. But the fact that thousands of people watch this on a daily basis for 3 or 4 hours, it's kind of like brainwashing. And the trouble is as well, James's video actually shows this very well, that the people that get taken in by this, maybe if they're starting out in the IT world or commuters and they're looking for a kind of an older, more experienced person to help guide them through technology, I totally understand that. To be honest with you, I'm thankful for it because there's quite a lot of younger people that come to me and ask me questions and I'm quite happy to answer them.
Yeah,
But-
don't send hate to him.
Yeah, don't send any hate. Please don't send any hate. Hate is not tolerated. We don't like that. Constructive criticism is absolutely fine. Don't spread hate. Spread knowledge,
Power.
Q-Link power, and spread information. That's what needs to be out there, information. The whole thing is kind of, there's like a stone wall. So basically, everyone pretty much who pays money into the channel as donations gets made into moderator. So against YouTube's terms and conditions, you're not allowed to generate income by providing incentives such as subscriptions, status upgrades, all that kind of subscribers. It's a big no-no. You cannot incentivize any of that. All your growth on YouTube has to be organic. There are slight detours from that, but essentially YouTube growth has to be organic or they will clamp down on you. So by offering the reward of a blue spanner to anyone who pays money to super chats, now it kind of gets around that by saying that you'll get a blue spanner or blue badge as he becomes to get to know you, so he has a group of trusted people. But he only reads messages from the people with the blue spanners anyway.
Ira Wolfman's moderator on there.
Ivory Wolfman says, yeah, I was surprised when I was made a mod. I was going to ask then, and my immediate gut reaction was, how much did that cost you? But I don't want to know. Please don't answer that question unless you want to. But yes, that is entirely your call. I don't want to pry.
He makes the mods but doesn't want them to be mods.
Letter says, Mike gave me a blue spanner. He don't know me too well.
Aletta's been with us from the beginning.
Aletta's been with us pretty much from the beginning. So, oh yeah, Irie Wolfman, there we go, €2. So yeah, I didn't ask you, you've just said it, so there proves my point. Irie Wolfman gets a blue spanner for popping €2 into the kitty, which is BS. Like the people that are blue spanner or blue badge holders or whatever, no, blue badge is disabled in the UK, so ignore that. If you've got moderator status on here, it's either because you're a regular to the channel, or you're in the Discord, or you've been with us from the very early days, and it's kind of one of those little perks. And it means that inherently I trust you to moderate the chat. That is all it's about. I don't care if you never give me a super chat in your life, whatever, it doesn't make any difference to me. So to do that whole thing really bugs me. But then to take all these donations, now I actually sat down and watched one of these streams and counted the donations, and man, that was a task I did not enjoy. But the amount of money generated, and then to say, to circumvent YouTube taking 30% of the super chat, maybe you should consider sending me it on PayPal or Amazon gift card vouchers. There's another 2 YouTube golden rules broken straight away there. Circumventing super chats and requesting payment via alternative means. So that's 3 strikes already. So technically the channel should be deleted, gone, or at least warned or temporarily suspended. Now I get that YouTube make a lot of money because obviously all those people that are throwing money at him, they get 30% off. So they're already going to turn around and say, well, we're earning like quite a lot of money from this guy. He's kind of skating on thin ice, but there's a good stream of money coming in, so maybe we'll leave it. That's the YouTube side of thing, which annoys me. But anyway, so getting back to my annoyance. If you don't have the knowledge or the experience, you shouldn't really try and influence other people or speak of a product in a negative way. Yes, you may have had bad experiences, but if you built, for example, not throwing anyone under the bus, but if you built one Threadripper system, but you've built 100 Intel systems on the same socket, it's likely, almost guaranteed, that you are going to experience problems on your first ever Threadripper build. Because A, it was one of those kind of look what we can do products from AMD. So it wasn't designed to be for the faint-hearted or for those that don't like to tweak a system. If you're a professional and you want a system which is going to be super reliable, easy to configure and work from the moment you turn it on, you don't buy a Threadripper. That's the last thing you buy. But still, that is AMD's problem, that it didn't just work. When AMD come out of the box, they said the first gen Threadripper is one of those kind of blue sky moonshots. We aimed high to see what we could do. We didn't expect it to be particularly stable. We did what we can. It's basically a muscle car in a PC. Muscle cars aren't reliable. You don't have them as your daily driver. You have them because they're muscle cars and they can go really fast, or they can pop wheelies, which is effectively what a Threadripper does. It goes, screw you, to all the other processors, look at my threads, look at my cores, what are you going to do? That's what it all comes down to. British Noob says, I'm the king of spanners. You are. Oh dear. So, that is my issue. The inability to listen to constructive criticism. I know there's probably at least 4 or 5 people in our chat already, which is actually quite a large proportion bearing on the amount of numbers that have been kicked or banned or whatever. Yeah, it just says it all. It's basically a stone-walled garden. There's a lot of people which have this kind of misguided, I suppose it's almost like a stardom thing. So if you met someone who is like vaguely famous and they paid you some attention or made you one of their special people, you'd be more tended to side with their point of view than you would another. It would be very interesting for him to come up alongside either a real technician or someone experienced across the board and to kind of have the two talk to each other. I think that would be a very interesting conversation, and I I would love to see it happen, because I think somebody needs to go toe to toe with him and actually put him in his place. And it's probably not what everyone wants to see, because people don't like that kind of conflict, but I generally hate it. I always try and support the underdog, and when James made his comments and opinions public in a public forum like YouTube, as I have done on a couple of streams where I've mentioned it, yeah, all power to you, James. Thank you for standing up. I think more people should do it. It's like when companies stand up against other companies, like Tech Team GB against MSI, Kit Guru Tech, who stood up against Thermaltake. I think a lot more of that needs to come out, because there's far too many people getting away with murder on the YouTube platform in general, and it just needs to be addressed in a more public way. It's so easy to just say, I don't agree with your opinion, I'll ban you, or I don't agree with it, I'll delete it. What do you do then? It frustrates me. I'm all for a public consultation or disagreement. If someone's got a problem with anything I say, absolutely fine, bring it on. I'll discuss it in my videos on a daily basis. Excuse me. I get people coming in, oh, Mike, you're an idiot, or you did this, this is wrong. It's like, well, okay, fair enough. Thank you for pointing out. I'm only a human being. I don't know everything. I don't claim to know everything. And that is how people should be. Nobody knows everything about everything. Generally, they don't. It's not a thing. There isn't that person alive. Some people are really good in their individual fields, but even then, nobody knows everything about everything, because, especially in IT, it is moving so quickly. And unfortunately, some of the tech community, this particular person in general, appears to be stuck somewhere in the early 2000s when Intel was king. It's very weird. British Noobs put £5 in the kitty and says, I'll go toe to toe with anyone in a food eating contest. Oh dear. Sorry, I'm working and drinking. I'm reading the chat. Xbox Gamer says, you're a sign bloke, Mike. Thanks for streaming. Love your show. Thank you, mate. That's you're pretty... I just fell into my own trap there. I called you mate. Xbox Gamer, I'm taking for granted that you are a male. We had a conversation earlier when it's really difficult on the internet, especially when you've got usernames and stuff. You can't always tell if it's a male or female person you're addressing. Now, for me, as a 40-something-year-old man from the UK, in school when I was growing up, generally you would be writing a letter or addressing someone, sending a CV off to a job, etc. It was always drummed into you from a very, very early age. So if you're addressing someone who is potentially older than you or you don't know, you would address them as sir or miss or madam, whatever the case may be. You'd always make sure that you address the letter officially and precisely. With usernames these days, sometimes you haven't got a clue. Now, some of the ones in here, very, very obvious. Kath Churchill. Generally, Kath is short for Catherine or Kathleen. So, Kath, you would have a rough guess. Kath would be a lady. Although you still fall into the trap there by assuming that because she's a lady, she would go under Miss or Ms. or Mrs. Sheila, Broad, whatever the case may be, Doris. There's so many prefixes you can use, so you do fall into a bit of a trap there, so you have to be a bit worried. It's easier with guys because it's like dude, mate, or mister. You can get away with those, or sir.
What are you even on about now?
I don't know, I've gone off on a tangent anyway. Anyway, so to get back to where I was, yeah, the YouTuber in question, in case you haven't guessed already, is...
You were going back through these now. You'd finished that one.
I haven't really. Yeah, so getting back to where I was, yeah, Kerry Holzman is the YouTuber in question that I was referring to, and yeah, it generally irks me that there is a kind of like a stonewall thing. Kerry Holzman is the iOS of the tech world. It's kind of like this little operating system in the middle, and you've got all these things around the outside which prevent you actually getting any real access to what's going on inside, or to give any input, or to make any changes. Is basically, this is what it is. If you don't like it, piss off. Not interested. And that to me is a bit crap and a bit disingenuous. Anyway, moving on.
He's the IBS of the tech world.
Nah, he's the IBS of the tech world. Yes, the irritable bowel syndrome. British News says don't respect iOS like that. Yep, so now we go on to the iOS versus Android argument.
We're not going to take his spanner away. He doesn't need it anymore.
No. Ivory Wolfman says, wow, never smiled so much. Oh dear. I do apologise for that. Xbox Gamer says, Kerry loves himself. He does, unfortunately. See if there's any other questions. James Miscellaneous, slightly backtracking but clarifying, and I will clarify again. James Miscellaneous, for those of you that are maybe late to the stream or just fast forward and whatever, he didn't have anything against Kerry per se. He just disagreed, and disagreeing with Mr. Holzman is something you can't do. You're not allowed to disagree. He actually says in his streams, if you say anything that he doesn't like or he doesn't disagree with, or you're making trouble in the chat, by making trouble means telling the truth, I guess, then yeah, you're going to get kicked or you get banned. He says he doesn't have a 2-strike warning. It's basically banned, that's it, you're out. So it's kind of, I guess he's protecting his bubble, which most people, I suppose, in their right mind would. And he is making a really good income off it, so he is protecting his investment. Well, actually, one thing I would love to do, he keeps on going about his business customers. Now, I, for one, have tried to investigate to see where his business is actually located and if it actually exists. And I cannot find it. So if any of you are in, I believe it's Arizona, and you know how the whole business system works over there, please do have a look and see if you can actually find the registered building address or anything which legitimately proves that there is a business and it is kind of paying taxes and all those kinds of things that a business would do. I would genuinely love to know, because I don't know the first thing of where I'm looking. I've tried searching for it, I can't find it, and I would actually love to see. I think I know for UK businesses you have to post your accounts and stuff to a central system, which is like the Inland Revenue, and it's publicly visible, so you can see how much someone earns or how much the company's turned over, that sort of thing. If you're a private limited company, generally that is a thing. So depending, well, I'm not sure how it works over there, tax system and business system, but please, if you do know anything about it, let me know, because I am so interested. Because again, it's one of those things you can't actually ask the question directly about his business, or what is the contact address, or how do I get a business quote, or anything like that, because you just get shut down. So I would actually genuinely love to know what is going on there. Yes. ClickTech says Phoenix, Arizona. So there you go. If anyone's in Phoenix, Arizona and they're bored shitless and they want to help out the community, find out some info and we'll check it out. And again, if there is something in there that we can pick up on and maybe highlight or disagree with, then maybe there'll be another disagreement video coming very soon. So on that bombshell, thank you all so much. It's now midnight here in the UK, and I've actually got to go to work tomorrow, so that sucks major balls. But thank you all so much for taking part. It's been a long one. Thank you all for staying with us. And yeah, hopefully you've been moderately entertained. Again, thanks for all of you that have thrown a few kitties in the pot. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to give you all blue spanners for the privilege, but thanks anyway. We will see you, yes, we will see you again next Saturday. Kev, I was so tempted to steal your line then. I'm glad I didn't. Thanks all for the stream, thanks for the super chats, and yeah, we'll see you in a new video on Monday. Thanks for watching. Oh, no, that didn't work. When you press end stream, you're really supposed to click the button that says end rather than not yet. That's something a noob would do. So I won't press it this time. See you all next time.